Alright, what's up everyone? Let me just make sure. Why is it not capturing that? It should be capturing it. There we go. Hello. How are we doing? Let me get the... There we go. Let's get this up here as we join in on the festivities. Welcome, welcome, Spotify. Hello. Hopefully, everyone is more or less contented with the round one matches. Oh, we have quite a nice bracket today. A few people who couldn't make it, but you know what, listen. I'm very contented with the turnout for these. What am I doing? I'm trying to join the world. Yes. The forbidden password. Yeah. Multiplayer battles. V1. I already hate my build. Good. You deserve it. It is, of course, a land battle single faction tournament. Again, I'll be messing about with all of the bits and pieces at some point. If you've failed to be able to check in or whatever, just let me know in... What map are we on? Never mind. Yeah, we're on the Shagrat stand. Let me find the world. I think this is it. I already hate my build. Good. You should do. So that's Curio. And it's the plane of spiders. Let me see where I can find. So if I join with code... Good, I guess it's this one. Spectate, I think? Yeah. 1, 2, 3. I'm guessing this is the one. Yep, we're in. Alright. We're just waiting on Milky Way. Unless he's managed to fall asleep again, which I wouldn't rule out. Maybe this is the mistake. Maybe this was the mistake. Maybe this is the first hiccup of the day. Although, looking here, who do we have? So round one, we're going to have Hanadans versus Milky Way, which we'll be watching. Tank versus Hamster Berserker. Gep versus Spotify. Rider of Rohan versus Pasha. And then Curio versus Statist. So I am quite excited to see what Statist's builds are going to look like. Because I'm going to steal all of them. And there's nothing you can do to stop me. At all. It's going to be fantastic. I hope Curio is aware that I will be taking some variation of his builds into him in the future. Just putting that out there. Just letting you know. Oh, dear. Where is the funny Milky Way, man? Bruh. Yeah, if Milky Way doesn't show up, we'll do that. He's been beating me in tequila tournaments a few times already. Yeah, I've seen the double Banshee he took into you. I've basically stole that for the Lich game and the meme tourney on Wednesday. I meant to play yesterday, but I slept until 11 o'clock at night. It was fantastic. I love working nights. It's a delightful feeling. I love feeling like a corpse inside. Milky Way. Let me message him. You're up. H. There you go. Ah, there he is. There he is. Yeah, Status is making a great name for himself as a VC main. It's kind of scary. Has he been playing before? I haven't seen. He might have joined after either before I came around or afterwards. It was pretty cool. Pretty damn cool. And Hanadan's here. I'm excited to see play as well because he's an OG, isn't he? I've heard his name in reference to the game a fair bit. By a fairly substantial margin. Alright, who is messaging me? Yeah, I got it. Oh dear. So I'm kind of excited to see how this one is going to turn out. And we all love Milky Way. the best bar of chocolate. Obviously. It goes without saying. I think my favorite Milky Way meme had to be during the faction war. Not so long ago. I was just like, they did everyone predict your bracket, and it was just someone with a Milky Way bar, just Milky Way all over it. Phenomenal stuff. Epic, even. I dare say. And if people do want to join late, we do have a couple of free slots, but it'll be in between rounds. You'll have to get me while rounds are still ongoing. If you do want to slide on in, just message in the Under Empire Discord, and I'll be able to get you in. I think my general vibe for these in future going forward is if there's room and it's not an odd number of players, I'll play. So if we have drops or whatever, no worries. I can always step in and press buttons and look cool doing it. Pretty standard. Ooh, Milky Way, you devious fellow. You devious fellow. Oh man, we're getting in here. It's time. And I'm curious to see as well what the difference is with the line of sight rule changes. It seems to be super inconsistent. Good luck to you, Cookino. Thank you as ever for joining. I'll still be doing my my Vermin League streams at some point. We're just gonna wait a second for everyone to get set up and ready before we take a peek, which we will do. Oh no, not you. Sorry, I thought it was Curio. Damn, you're starting to blur together. All right, let's take a look. On the side of Hanadans, we're gonna have the Outriders, Pistoliers, Empire Knights, the Hammer of the Witches. Of course, we have Swordsman, Spearman, a staunch line of spears and swords, some more Empire Knights, and of course the Outriders. I think these are regular Outriders. Yeah, they're the regular Outriders. Boris Toddbringer up into skies, along with the Amber Wizard, with the Flock of Doom and the Transformation of Catagon. True Curio. Alright, looking here, we're gonna see some Clan Rats. The wolf doggos, but they're actually rats. On either flank, Eshin Sorcerer here with Warp Stars, Concealment Bombs, and just the Toxic Rain. Just a little bit of a debuff when he spams spells. Warp Fire Throwers. We love you, Milky Way, never change. Along with the Dwarf Thing Menace, a mobility core of Rogers, Natty Bubos, the Sharpshooters. And I think these are the Teeth Breakers. Yes, indeed they are. And on top of that, we're going to have the Master Assassin. Good old Milky Way. Of course. Best Defense. No, that's the wrong one. There we go. Rival Hide, Concealment Bombs, Looming Dread. And then I believe the Sacred Banner of the Horned Rat for -8 leadership. He encourages everyone. What a lovely feller. As we are going to see the assassin in the corner with Hanadans turning around. Oh dear. Oh no. Our plan schemes not working. Get out of there, Hanadans knew. He felt it in his bones. Run! Scamper, scurry indeed. As we're going to see the Hammer of the Witches here. Hammer some witches. Shooting the Warp Fire Throwers, getting a shot in the Teeth Breakers. Not doing an immense amount of damage, but it's doing just a little bit. They call that the Heart Read. Now we accuse, what we obviously do here is we accuse people of cheating and mauled. I think that's the play. I think that's the strategy here, Gep. As unfortunately Boris is having a grand old time here. Trying to take out... One of them's already gone! Oh no! Oh no! He couldn't skitter leap fast enough. Jesus. Esh and Sorcerer here going to make some pew-pews. Of course, the Hammer the Witch is still hammering some witches. About 8 kills, 200 value. We're getting there. Slowly but surely. Going to be firing here on the Dwarfing Menace just to try and soften them up before we go anything. We can call it a draw. He who runs away lives to fight another day. As we're going to see these Outriders here start to move forward, possibly take out some of the mobility elements here on the side of our dear friend Milky Way. We do, of course, see the Empire Knights here going for this mobile box. Or some variation of a mobile box. Oh, we're having a little bit of a stuttering. And that's going to be the Skavens, unfortunately, having both their Assassin and Master Assassin dead to the boards. And here we are going to see the Rattling Guns go pew-pew here on the Feral Manticore. So that's going to be that shot out of the sky. How much value have these guys gotten? Absolutely zero, because it's a... Wait, does... You're kidding me. You're actually kidding me. They don't count towards value? That's a shame. As we're seeing the Outriders here start to move out around the side. Empire Knights about to move out. Are being shot by the Natty Buboes, but they are going to intercept those pesky Wolf Rats here on the flank. The Spearmen here moving into engage. Empire Knights have taken out these chaps on the flanks. Good job, lads. Good job, team. Good job, team. Boris is going to dive down here going after the Master Assassin. Unfortunately, the Warpfire Throwers did fuck all. Good job, Warpfire Throwers. I'm proud of you. As the Natty Buboes now are going to be shot down by the Hammer of the Witches. Outriders coming in around the flanks here to start making some pew-pew noises. They're going to rip some shots, as unfortunately Boris not having a grand time. The Outriders here making absolute short work out of these teeth breakers. Nicely done. Okay, fair enough. Good point well made, Gep. Good point well made. As that's got to be the Warpfire Throwers routing off the Outriders here. Doing a grand old job making the pew-pew noises. Another Feral Manticore comes down and is about to dive down on some rats, maybe for some routes. Jolly good stuff here, as a bunch of stuff is en route. Outriders here, of course, shooting down these Rogers, but their accuracy is leaving a little bit to be desired, as they are going to be charged down by some Rogers, but not before the Feral Manticore descends from on high. The Hammer of the Witch is continuing to rock some shots here. How much value has this thing gotten? 800 value. That's not to be sneezed at. Some Pistoliers have come back now, about to start taking out these Natty Buboes. Possibly going in for a charge here, I can't quite tell, but it does look as though they're going to rout next to immediately. Anyway, Outriders here repositioning here to get away from the Rogers. It is not Roger until I say it's Roger. Flock's probably going to come down on this massive blob of pretty high value targets. We have some Rogers, we have some Dwarfing Menaces here. As that does seem as though the Natty Buboes have been taken out. Balance of Power is still saying even Stevens. But the rats starting slowly but surely to run out of steam. As the Empire Knights here are going to peel for the cannons. I'm told the rats love cannons. As these Pistoliers are going to kite out these poor unfortunate Rogers caught in a bad spot. The Hammer of the Witches turns around. Friendly fire, pretending they're Skavens. As some clan rats now are going to skitter scurry right in there. Rogers did manage to catch the Pistoliers, but not before these Natty Bubo sharpshooters are going to come back, rip some shots. With the Rogers here caught up in both the mass of the Empire Knights, along with a Feral Manticore. They're gone feral. Truly feral. These Outriders here are still very much in play. The Master Assassin is doing his bestest. And that's going to be victory for Hanadans. Yep, never mind. I'm sure one of the boys will save it. Alright, cool. Alright. Alright, anyway, moving swiftly along, let's look at the values here. Dwarf Thing Menace. Some Rogers, they did okay. These guys did fuck all. 942 on the Sharpshooters, nicely done. 1500. And Assassins didn't do particularly great, unfortunately, but it's very funny. And then Boris did very little. Silver Bullets, Empire Knights, they all did their job. Pistoliers, and then of course these chaps did a crazy amount of work. Alright, I think it's all pretty okay. Manticore Summon is pretty silly. That's pretty good. But that is going to be the first match done. Nicely done, folks. Let's take a peek here at the bracket. We do have Gep versus Spotify, which is done. Tank versus Hamster Berserker is still ongoing. Rider of Rohan, Pasha, Curio, Status. Very nicely done. Let me just download Spotify's match here to start. And then we'll have a quick peek at the rest of the stuff. It was over pretty quickly, so we'll probably finish this one out. Boop, boop, boop. Cut that and then paste it. Wow. Wowzers. Paste. Nice. Alright, let's take a quick peek at that match. Assuming it's not a complete blob fest, I am curious as to how it all went down. Replays, doc. What on earth? Oh, Spotify. Alright, let's just catch this. I'm curious. You have me on the edge of my seat, Spotify. And then we'll have a couple more matches. Excellent. We'll try and make sure that we get everyone on stream at least once. But before we do that, let's take a quick look at the builds. Hippity hoppity, these frogs are in fact on your property. Look at this, the load of Nurglings. We have some Seekers of Slanesh, 2 on this flank with some Chaos Furies. Plague Toads for that little bit of mass. And then we have Dogs and another Seekers of Slanesh with another Air Corps following them in behind. And lots of frogs. Looking here, we have the Tormentor Sword, Locus of Wrath, Hellblade. If he gets more than 80 kills, and that's all good. And on the side of the lizards, we have Saurus, Skinks, Saurus, Skinks, some with Javies in the backfield, Croxies to meet in the middle of it. Bastiladon with the Solar Engine, 2 of them in fact. Slan of Life, Blood Statuette of Spite, Shield of the Old Ones, Banishment, Shem's Burning Gaze, the Net of Amontok, and of course Exorcism, along with the Greater Arcane Conduit. And I think, yep, pretty immobile box here. It's time for the demons to beat their foreheads against a brick wall while the Solar Engines do their wicked work. Does seem as though we're going to see a Shem's Burning Gaze coming out here, along with the bolt of the Solar Engine shots. Good God. How much HP? Nearly 1,000 HP from that triple combo. Good God. He could take like 4 of those. Or 5 of them. Just shy of it, as we're going to see the surround begin here. Chaos Furies moving in. We're seeing the Plague Toads here move in against the central box. Nurgling's about to come in here and do a little bit, but the Shield of the Old Ones, the Droidica Shield is down. As the other flank is just a little bit too slow to get in on the engage, but it does seem as though these chameleon skinks are going to be caught with their trousers down. I didn't even know that skinks wore trousers, but they certainly didn't have them on when this charge came through. As the front line is very much engaged. And here pretty much everything's getting caught up. The Star Chamber, the Temple Guard here doing a grand old job. Not before these skinks on the flanks are going to be taken down, but it does seem as though one of, I believe it was the Furies, no, it was actually the Seekers taken out there. As another flank, a long flank is about to come through. Plague Toads and Nurgle still saturating in, getting out this skink cohort. That's the magic. The Temple Guard are going to be very, very difficult to move through as we still have some Furies up in the skies. Sadly, these Saurus Warriors are going to have a grand old time dealing with the Plague Toads, but not before one of the skinks are going to be en route. Furies out on the sides here, chasing off this skink cohort, not wanting to have to deal with that. Chameleon skinks are gone as the blobby McBlob face continues to. The Hounds of the Blood Hunt here as well. Gorefeast getting that little bit of passive regen. Nice Psycho Charge coming through here, but not before we see another Shem's Burning Gaze, I believe. Fury's still chasing off these chaps. There's an absolute horror fest of entities left and right over here on the flanks. The Herald of Khorne, where is he? Where's the Herald of Khorne? Balance of power is very much here in the favour of the lizards. But with all this infantry support and the Kroxigors basically given free reign to do pretty much whatever. The Bastillodons here struggling a little bit as well. Temple Guard here do look like they're going to break. Oh no. The Skink cohort are going to break. The Star Chamber Guardians are living their best lives. Furies up in the sky here getting ready to chase off some stuff. Apparently these Furies got into melee and just... Oh no, never mind. They're actually coming back here, but they are diving here on the slan. Chameleon skinks are broken. But it ain't looking good for the demons. Here's the balance of power tips ever so much in the scales of the lizards. Dinosaurs are cooler than demons. I did learn that when I was 6. So all is working about as it should be here. Skin cohort is still in play, and unfortunately it does seem as though this entire flank here is crumbling away. The Toads going up against... Do these guys have any armor piercing? They do. The Plague Toads do actually have a decent amount of armor piercing here. My soul left that battle. Cast adrift back into the realms of chaos once more, where you belong, Spotify. Good lord. And that's all she wrote. 1400 value in these guys. He net my cav in with the Temple Guard, so I got cooked. Yeah, that checks out. Mastodons didn't really do much. Like, I see the point of the build, trying to build for dealing with cold ones and stuff, but he didn't bring any. And a brick wall are not really bad unit, they're just useless in both Demons of Chaos and Nurgle. I use them against high mass factions just to, like, make sure the line holds. And the poisoned contact effect is very useful. The only times I play Nurgle, I usually just do a Forsaken Rush. So I wouldn't consider myself arguably the best judge of that kind of thing. It's just they're slightly... Aren't they like slightly more expensive? Like Crypt Horrors is the way that I look at them. They're like a debuff contact effect along with just being mass. That's my opinion on them anyway. But I don't think Nurgle really needs them. Yeah. Unfortunate bestie. Yeah, the Croxies. The Croxies basically won that, I feel. They're just able to just like hold the line. You're not going to have your front lines completely rolled over. Like, how much are the Plague Toads? Regular ass Plague Toads. Nurgle. I'm guessing that they have the same cost in both rosters, right? Like the big scary toad peoples. 650. Oh, they're actually pretty cheap. flying. And you could always pull out angels. Although I'm not sure if they're worth the cost. And they're much hardier than the flamers. So they can last a little bit longer. But that's just because I'm basically PTSD'd to fuck out of it. But then again, I don't know. What's up, Hanadans? I know you have Screamers as well. Screamers are apparently okay. Fiends were good at one point. Yeah, I don't know. I don't play either of the factions all that well, so I'll defer to you guys. I don't really know. I don't really know the demons all that well, other than that they fry my poor vampire counts. Moment of silence, please. Burning Chariot. You have a lot of options there in that roster. Tell Ryder to kite faster. At least you assume that's what's happening if they still are finished. Don't do it, Gap. Don't do it. Don't summon him. I should really put that get that gif. That the Phoenix King made. But have that just on whip whenever Prime shows up. I think that's the play, lads. That's the play. I can get rid of this. No one's in Twitch today. Furious Micro. Beads of sweat for that one Illyrian Reaver versus that one Cossified Dervish Cav. Alright, we got people. Alright, who do I want to watch? Who do I want to watch? Alright, we're going to inflict Rider of Rohan. Oh no, Pash is not playing Kislev. He's playing Ogre Kingdoms, I forgot. Alright, Rider and Tank. Open spec slot. God, there's so many riders in this Discord now. I don't know which one is the right one. Tank. Open spec slot. Send code, please, and thank you. Alright, tank up and spec slot and send code, please, and thank you. There we go. Alright, we're good. We'll be getting in now in a moment. Melee units for large. Yeah, you do. You have whatchamacallit. For like mobile mass and whatever, you have the Zeech dudes. The Screamers. They're pretty good, aren't they? Oh, they used to be. I have no idea. I'm just waiting for Tank and for Rider. And we'll get in. Is a tank as in the armored vehicle? Or is a tank from the hit TV show, Cowboy Bebop? 3, 2, 1, let's jam. I don't know. I didn't think this one through. I'm guessing it's the former rather than the latter. Okay, that is the right Rider of Rohan. I can confirmed. I pinged the correct person. We did it, guys. We did it. We persevered. Alright. Right, do I have all the round one? While we're waiting, let me just catch up on all of the replays that have been sent in for round one, since we are waiting for a bit. So that was Spotify. Let me actually delete that. Boom. Delete that. Delete that. These are all out of date, unfortunately. God, I have so many of these goddamn things. Jesus. So download that. Download that. And I already have that one. Excellent. Let me transfer those saves over. There we are. Nice. Okay, that's that done. Thank you. Practice lobby. Okay. All right. Thank you. All right, there we go. All right, we have these two chaps in the whirl. We're ready to go. It's quite a different one than what I've seen. I'm curious as to how these guys are going to do. There are many questions I have. I think it was Nurgle's PA and Ryder who had a very, very good and very close game. If not in the last tourney I did, in the first one since coming back. So I am quite curious. Quite curious. Alright, we'll give it a minute. Let both of these chaps do their thing. Oh, Lord. Okay. I think we have our players doing their thing here. At least one of them is more or less pretty much set up. And then we'll take away the blocker. Alright, well I guess both players now are more or less getting all their stuff set up, so if there's any major changes we'll know. So, on the side of tank, we're going to have Worshippers the Crow, Marauders. Blocker's still there. Yeah, I know, I'm just taking my time getting it set up. We're going to have some Marauder Berserkers, Worshippers of the Crow, Marauder Bearman, 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 More Berserkers. Along with a Kurgan Cav with great weapons. So I'm curious as to how well they're going to do. Looking here, we are going to see the Beast of Tashnar as well, out on the flanks, along with more Kurgan Horsemen. We are, of course, going to have a Shaman Sorcerer of Death with the Fate of Buna, the Boat on Wulfric, Fight or Die, and the Hunter of Champions. Then from the side of Rider of Rohan, we have Illyriel, Earthblood, Tempest. I'm not sure why Tempest was taken, but you have it. Martial Prowess, Life Bloom, Arcane Conduit, and the Stars of Averlorn. Mass regen. 4 Spearmen, 3 Lather and Seaguard, 2 of which with shields, 1 of which without. Mage of Metal, Plague of Rust, and Caldrian, attuned to magic. And of course the Blizzard Aura, given those debuffs. Silver Helms, as we're seeing a flank overload coming in over at the top here. More Silver Helms as well in tow, trying to lure out these Kurgan Horsemen to bad engagements. Silver Helms here are going to take a lot of damage here, but we do see a rear charge coming in from all sides. Caladrian in here as well, keeping them stuck in place, and that's going to be one of them routed off. Spearman here on the side holding with the Ragnar's Pride duking it out here with the Beasts of Tashnar, who are going to die. I believe these guys are considered large. Are these guys considered large? Yes, both of these chaps are one of them is actually small entity. Interesting. I thought these would be Ice Wolves, but no, they're actually just regular-ass Warhounds who are going to jump here on these Lothern Seaguard. In come the Silver Helms here to try and peel for them. Spears coming in here, a bit of mass, loading up. But of course we are going to see these Silver Helms taken down. Life Bloom is still in effect, but they are going to rout regardless. Shots ringing out. Another heal comes through. These guys are finally going to rout along with Wulfric the Wanderer getting into the thick of it. Silver Helms are going to try and get rid of these Marauder Berserkers who are chasing on through. Ragnar's Pride going to get in through back into the fray. Are they anti-infantry? No, they're just anti-infantry. But Caladrian here swatting aside Wulfric as you ought to. Out here on the rest of the battle, we're going to see Shaman Sorcerer here. Only with his Fate of Buna, just to take out some of that cavalry, possibly some of the archers, as these Kurgan Horsemen are going to charge in on these Lothern Seaguard with shields. They're going to take a little bit of damage in return, though, on the charge, which they do. The Spearmen, unfortunately, braced, along with these Kurgan Horsemen over here on the flanks, getting ready to charge in on these chaps. Some Marauder Berserkers saturating in this massive melee over here. Wulfric's taking a lot of damage. The Heart of Averlorn is going to come down, though, getting that nice regen. Unfortunately, these Kurgan Horsemen are going to be charging into a staunch line of spears, but are also archers. Spearmen here in the rear guard, trying to take out these Bearmen. Riders of the Mighty Serpent, the Aura War, going to be making some pew-pew noises. As we've seen both the Kurgan Horsemen and Wulfric retreating. But we do see Caladrian try his best to actually keep Wulfric out of it. There's what seems to be another... Is it Plague of Rust? No, it's a Mighty Roar. Giving a pretty bad leadership debuff. These Marauder Berserkers are out of the fight. Kurgan Horsemen not quite sure what to do with themselves. Idling. Maybe they need an oil change. Is over here on the flank now. They're going to be starting to rotate around. Rip some shots into some high value targets. Which does turn out to be some Silver Helms. As Wulfric is back into the fight once more. Marauder Bearmen. The Worshippers of the Crow. Cleaving their way through these poor Spearmans. We do see more shots ring out here from the Riders of the Mighty Serpent. We're going to be shot to itty bitty bits, but not before they charge in here against these lions. We are going to get an Earthblood by the looks of things on the Caladrian. We're seeing more stuff filter in. These guys are probably at risk of shattering now any minute, but they still seem to be holding up pretty well. Spearmen crumbling away. And these Lothern Seaguard are going to be skedaddling out. 10 dudes fighting to the bitter end. As the last of these Silver Helms are being sent away. I can't remember which one is the god of the underworld, but we'll say it's Isha. Why not? Seems on brand. Does look as though something's going through here. Battle songs. Some sort of a debuff looks like it's about to go down on these chaps, but I'm not sure which one it is. And here we are seeing these berserkers filter in, trying to take out these doggos, of which there's only a handful left. But we still have the skirmish elements in play here for the side of Norska. Kurgan Horseman getting a charge here against Lariel. She's in danger close of breaking. Marauder Berserkers getting in on it as well, but these Kurgans are about to break. And so they do. Not before a rear charge here in the Lothern Sea Guard. Still more skirmish cav in play here, making pew pew noises. Does seem as though Wulfric is going to go down though. But he does get the boat. Beautiful micro here on the side of Tank, who manages to get away, but not before we see a beautiful charge come in here from these chaps. Bunch of stuff in route. Few tattered remnants coming back. Looks like it's Caladrian, the Metal Mage, and Alariel. All that's left against the Horde of the North, descending in from the top. Going for a nice tasty charge in there, but a Faded Buna comes off to make sure that these Lothern Sea Guard don't come back. Not many targets, but enough targets. Shaman Sorcerer on his little footsies. Completely shatters off these chaps. And to a man, or to an elf, I guess. Gone. Kurgan Horseman still idling off on the flanks. Not much things for them really to charge into. Galadriel's back up into the skies. Alariel's in the thick of it. Not where she wants to be. To seem some kind of a cast effect is going through there. But not before the most high elf way imaginable. 4 dudes come back and they're going for a dive here against Wulfric. With the amount of tattered units that there are, that might be enough to get a break, but unfortunately it's not to be, as he's caught up in some Marauder Horsemen. Completely surrounded. Alariel's about to go down. Balance of power is remarkably even here, but not before Alariel shatters. The Lothern Sea Guard, all 5 of them, bravely holding out. It does seem as though Caladrian's the last one. The Lord goes down. Metal Mage in the middle of it, slowly but surely being chipped away. That's going to be victory on the side of the Savage Northmen, by the looks of things. Yeah, Caladrian can't do that on his own. Unless there's some, like, insane degrees of fuckery that goes on. It's highly unlikely. And if he's able to take out the mage, he might be able to stay in the fight for a bit, but it's not looking likely. There's so many things. The skirmish cav's still there. He's basically no out here. Which is an unfortunate bestie kind of moment, as he's still getting peppered. Target practice along with their allies. Kurgan Horsemen come in for a rear charge. Morale is danger close to going down to nothing. Not before they shatter, though. Wulfric's trying to take her down, and with Wulfric taking out the mage, Galadriel can't really hold on his own. Even to just keep him in the battle doesn't matter. GG's. That's going to be the Norskins taking the W. A GG. A GG. Nicely done, gents. Nicely done. Tank takes the W. And it does seem as if the spearmen, the staunch line of spears, did very little, but that's to be expected. 1,600, 850. Nice. Yeah, they did okay. One of them did pretty damn good. Lariel did, nah. Caladrian, yeah, he did good. As for the horsies, yeah, they just didn't have good dive targets early on, and kind of screwed them over pretty badly. Skirmish tag have did okay though. What in the heck? What the frickin' frick? 1,200, 2,000 value. Nearly 1,000. Nearly 2k. 700. Jesus. Like a hot knife through butter. Good God. And then Wulfric did pretty well. He with the boats. The boat that goes choo-choo. Nicely done, gents. Nicely done. Yeah, the archers all paid for themselves, I believe, there. Just the cavalry struggled a little bit. Even though they did take out the most of the mobility, there was still just that skirmish cav in the end to just pepper down anything that was valuable. Mostly just to, once Caladrian was stuck down en masse, it was just to like, make pew pew noises. 1,000 value. They didn't do great. Nerf silver helms, lads. Nerf silver helms. And as for the Kurgans, they're 750 and none of them did great. I guess he was expecting more cav to come in, to be honest with you. Beast of Tashner. It's a wonder there was no, I thought Skin Wolves would have been okay there, but maybe that's just me. The default is just spamming Skin Wolves forever. Although I guess people were still trying out some of the more DLC stuff. Alright, how many matches do we have waiting? We have 3 currently. We have the Vampire Counts versus Milky Way. I'm so sorry, Milky Way. I did it just to spite you, though. Gep versus Hanadans. And I can actually log that score. So that was in the favor of Tank. Let me just mark that. Yeah, so there's just 2 matches left. Hanadans and Gep, and then Statist and Milky Way. I wonder what build Milky Way went with. Because I find the Storm Vermin are like super good. I find Storm Vermin quite difficult to deal with, along with the Doomflayers are really nice into counts as well. I quite like them. Well, I don't like fighting them because they're armor piercing, so they can deal with your Blood Knights and stuff like that come in. Which is kind of neat. I'm still mad. I'm still so mad that I threw so badly to Codex in the meme tourney. It's like, no, winning position, I got this. Nope. Get a Howling Warp Galed a couple of times. There was an emotional tempest after that. Good God. There's no way Doomflayers, not if they're stuck in mass. They do a decent amount. They're just like super mobile, armor-piercing mass. They do pretty good. I find, anyway. Or at least there's something that I really have to worry about before going on the dive. I find consistently they're some of the last things that are left for me to deal with. That could well be a skill issue. Or they're trading well enough into the counts. Because like there's a couple of things you have to deal with before you go for the dive. Well, yes, exactly. Curio's on the money. So like you have 1 or 2 Doomflayers. Usually just the ROR is fine. Should be a better mass blocker than Rogers. Well, the Rogers do well. It's just the question as to whether or not I have enough steam left, if I have enough gas left in the tank. Because like the best thing I can do is just spell Kite out. You spell Kite out the Globadiers, which are your biggest threat. They're the biggest threat to your mobility. Like, it just depends on the build you go. I like a double Vargi, double Blood Knight is quite nice. It's quite useful. Because you can send your Blood Knights off to deal with whatever mass block of, and Blood Knights are kind of expensive versus Skavens. They are. But I will have any excuse possible to use Blood Knights tank. They're so cool. I'm sorry. Because you're pretty taxed, right? Skavens have good range damage source that can focus fire, high damage targets. Yup. Usually the way I do it, and this is just me, is I'll just Buna a flank for one of the annoying fellers. Be it your globes, be it your Giselles, be it whatever the fuck. And force a collapse on there so that they rearrange their line. And Stormvermin get rid of that, get away from that strategy. And the Doomflayers trade well into Blood Knights, which you need into the late game to make sure that you can actually do stuff. Varghese are good, but they're very vulnerable to the anti-airs. So you can either dive on something valuable on the inside and then you can take out stuff. But again, any excuse I can reasonably take, I will take. And now we are on to the next round. Who do we want to see? Who do we want to see? Gep and Curio. There, that's the one we want to see. Let me message our players. It's tournaments. There we go. Tourney ops. You are an op. I'll just download that anyway. Alright, Ash. Curio. Ash. Oh, you beat me to it. You scoundrel. Do you want my job, do you, Curio? Too slow, old man. I hate you. We're taking 1 point off of Curio right the fuck now. It's over. It's over for you. Who's ready to see me die? And we'll get you next round, whoever you're fighting, because I think we've seen... It's just yourself and Stasis that we've not seen. I'm guessing this is you, Curio. Spectate. I did it. I'm so genius. Also, I'm very happy that you have seen Hanniden's play today. It's nice to see the old guard. The rest of you all suck. Fuck you guys. Roll them all. Roll all the old players out with their wheelchairs, so I can fawn over them. Oh shit! You bring up a good point. Fuck. Yeah. This is what I get for catching up with replays. Alright, now we're safe. Now I can look. This is what I get for moving replays when I do this shit. Oh dear. Round 2. There's only 3 matches. Swiss 1. There we go. We're good. We still have a couple from the last tourney we can do as well if I have some gas left in the tank. If we have some gas left in the tank. I make no promises. I meant to do them like Monday and then ended up being asleep. I was struggling to sleep during the week. Night shifts are killer, lads. Don't do it. Not even once. It's a mistake. Also, I meant to say it before as well, folks. If you have any maps from VL that you don't like consistently, I've gotten rid of Alpine Ridge, and I heard a couple of complaints here or there from Pillar of Bone, so I've taken that out of the rotation. But if there's any of them you also don't really want to fight on, just give me a shout. And then have a good old-fashioned think about it. Because I'm literally just rolling a dice and going, which map do we pick this time? With a couple removed from the rotation. So if there's any that you think are cringe, just let me know. Or if there's any that aren't on that list that you think are really funny. We've got a Glacier Lake map going. Or a tourney finals on like the Choking Pits or whatever the fuck it's called. Sounds pretty hilarious from when I'm not playing, obviously. Oh, we got the last match from this. There we go. Nice. I think we can delete all of them. Yeah, there we go. That's probably fine. Okay. Spotify looking for vengeance. Who will avenge poor Spotify? Have you no shame? And to be fair, Spotify fighting Gep with that RTK with the RTK, I just always expect the full kite lizards. It's just I just foresee it in my future every time. Full kite shenanigans. Although against demons that doesn't make very much sense. To be fair. Unless you're playing some 3D chess. Or 4D chess. Or 8D chess. Because they know that I know that they know. Alright, we'll just wait a second. Until the stream delay can account for all of the things. And I think we've casted everyone at this point, because we'll do Spotify next round. It's just Pasha. I've missed Pasha as well. So I'm literally waiting for... It's Pasha or Spotify and Hamster. Those are the three we haven't seen just yet. At least in a live cast. So we'll probably get a Spotify game next. And I don't think we've seen a status. There's actually 4 people. But Curio keeps asking to be casted. So you know, who am I to deny? Who am I to deny? Why did you give me counts and ogres? Why do you hate me? And I didn't give you ogres. And I'll have you know, I didn't intentionally give you counts. You simply should have just won. The only thing I'm really in control of is round 1 for challenge. I am not responsible for this. Alright, both players are more or less set up here, so if there's any drastic changes, we know to call them out. So, on the side of Curio, we have some goblins. Lots of goblins. We even have some Ruglan's armoured orcs. The 8-peak loonies, the rusty arrows. Orc arrow boys. Savage orc boar boys. Savage orc boar boys. You get a savage orc boar boy. And you get a savage orc boar boy. The Durkit Squigs, of course, the Broken Tusk mob as well. And then the Mugrub's Mangy Marauders. With the Goblin Great Shaman. With Crown of Command. Don't even try it. The Sneaky Stabbing. Vindictive Glare. The Arcane Conduit. And I believe that's everything here on the side of our dear friend, Curio. And then on the side of Gep, we have some cold ones. Cold ones! The lizards. Lizards riding dinosaurs. The world has gone mad. Skin cohort. Skin cohort. Skin cohort. Sore Spears and some more skinks. We have the Bastillodon. We have a Skink Priest of Beasts. Flock of Doom. The Burning Alignment. Pan's Impenetrable Pelt. And is there any more shenanigans? Putting a warning on all that other stuff. We then have a red-crested skink chief up on another lizard riding a dinosaur. Does he have anything cool? Colossal Strike, Warrior's Crest. And it seems like that's everything. And then some pterodons up in the skies. Along with a Bastillodon with a Rivification Crystal. As this front line is starting to engage, an awful lot of value hitting this one unit of goblins. You hate to see it. These guys are taking a little bit of damage. Obviously here we do see the 8-peak loonies. They're bouncing off of the Skink Priest. As we're seeing these Sore Spears beat into the front line. And with the Bastillodon Revocation Crystal, fortunately a beautiful charge comes in here from some Savage Orc Boar Boys, the big uns even, who are going to be doing some pretty serious damage here, but we do see some Cold One Spears come out around the flanks here to catch these guys with their cruisers down. And over here, the Savage Orc Boar Boys doing a decent job here against the Cold One Spears. Durkit Squigs going to bounce, hop, leap, and bound in over the top. So unfortunately, we're going to see a dive coming down here. Some pew-pew noises. The bombs! A bombing run! Over here, this flank here, it is not looking good for the lizards. Over on this flank, the mobility going down. Pretty much an even trade. Very much in favour of the orcs, though, as we're going to see the Broken Tusk mob cleave on in through. Bastillodons doing Bastillodon things along with the Goblin Great Shaman taking a lot of damage. But we're going to see withdraw. The Mugrub's Mangy Marauders trying to catch up some stuff en masse, waiting for the Savage Orcs to roll on in. And Durkit Squigs coming in to help. Good lads. They're good lads. They're good lads. Goblins trading decently here. We're having a little bit of a cluster cluck going on over there in that corner. Unfortunately, these Cold Ones are going to be sent. There wasn't a meteor, chat. It wasn't a meteor. It was, in fact, very angry pigs. Mammals. The mammals win this day. And over here, we're seeing a mass rout here on the greenskin front line. Balance of power is still even Stevens. But in terms of mobility, looking very much in favour here of the mean and greens. There's only a handful of Cold Ones left over here as they are going to rush now to try and help out and deal with the Cold Ones here, who have managed to catch the Goblin Great Shaman. He ain't looking so hot, but he is not going without a fight. Some skinks are still routing off here in the background. As the ride of the pig Hiram. We do it for our friends. As they are going to send these Cold Ones off into the sunset. As a giant frickin' laser beam comes down. Frickin' lasers taking out these Savage Orc Boar Boys. There's a bit more gas in the greenskin tank yet. Or the gas in the Lizardman tank yet, I should say. But we do have the Swamp Things trying to take out these chaps. The balance of power swinging wildly in the favour of Curio. Gep having a bit of a struggle here as the Mangy Marauders are trying to take down some of the lizards. Make some pew-pew noises. But we're having more of the mobility and rout. And do see a dive come down here in the Orc Hour Boys. The Lord actually managing to hold off those Cold Ones was a huge memento. But we have a cast of the bees. But with single entity starting to go into rout, that's going to be Gep throwing in the towel, realizing it's over. What's done is done. That is going to be Curio taken to W. Good job, Curio. Demean and Degreens. Spotify, the crowd goes wild. Good job, Curio. Alright. Alright. How are we fixed? How are we looking? Okay. Chat room, it was too much dinosaur. Alright. Never trolls. I'm struggling with the greenskins a little bit as well lately. I think it's just a matchup that I'm going to have to play an awful lot more. Roguns. Just their mobility is super good. And the Savage Orc Boar Boys just do an absolute ton of damage. They're pretty hard to get rid of as well. You have to commit to the bit. Just an entire army of single entities, I think, next time. I think that's the play. 1,200, 2,000 value. Good lord. Rev Crystal. The Pterodons. Like the spear one, the cold one still did pretty okay. But the means and greens, they're pretty spoopy. They're pretty spoopy. Like if someone with hands... Am I still live? I am still live, right? Yeah, I am. That's weird. Das is weird. Yeah, I am. We're all good. Yeah, I think more dinosaurs next time, Gap. You got this. You got this. As we're still waiting for a couple of matches to finish up, it's going to be Hanadans, Empire versus Norska, the Doc. Just what the Doc ordered. Dark Elves versus the Demons. No, John, you are the demons. Then Ogre Kingdoms versus Skaven. Yeah, you are. No, we're just ignoring you. I'm living a day in another man's moccasins, my friend. Okay. Neither of these should take forever. Oakley dokley. How are we fixed here for matches? We've statused. Putting down one. Now, I've already technically cast you, Spotify. But we'll try and get... It's Pasha, Hamster, yourself. And is there anyone else that we haven't cast yet? And statused. So... we'll try and get one where we get the pair of you in. But I will be watching some vampire counts later. That's my day. That is going to be my day. And we do have some... we have some casts from the last bracket we can go over as well. So today is casting day. But yeah, we will make sure that we try and see everyone. What's the standings like, actually? Who are we looking at liable to move on to the next one? Standings, it's Tank, Statist, Hanadans, and Curio currently. Yeah, the Rider not having a good day. Milky Way has gotten some cursed matchups. Suffer as I suffer, Milky Way. Excuse me. Me every time I take vampire counts into a bracket. Forever cursed to have the worst matchups. I can't remember the bracket, but it was literally one after the other. It was Khorne, Nurgle, and Walk. One after the frickin' other. I think I cried. There was an emotional outburst. I'm not proud of it. But the mold may have been upon me for my terrible life decisions. I'm still not entirely sure what you're supposed to do against Khorne. Other than pray they don't take all of the things that are good against you. So we're still waiting for Spotify and Hamster. What's Hamster playing today? Dice Dark Elves. The Evil Knife Ears. Marvelous. Marvelous. And we have another match. Thanking you, chaps. Paladin's Tank. That'll be a fun one to watch later. And this should... Place files. Magnificent. Alright. Milky Way is typing. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Alright, well we should be cracking on now in just a second. So let me see who's likely. So the Milky Way, Gap, Ryder, Hanadans. Damn, Tank took out Hanadans? Good God. So how's the standings looking right now? Still the same top four, with both Tank and Statist going undefeated so far. And then it's Hanadans and Curio then. With the 2-1. Jesus. This is looking like it's going to be a good finals bracket. A damn good finals bracket by the looks of things. Good God. He's just tanking it like it's no one's business. That's crazy. Ogies are a faction I don't look at much. I've been told I should probably try playing them at some point. They're still considered arguably one of the best factions in the game, aren't they? Although I don't own any of the DLC. Oh, that's a lie. I own Golgies. I might try them at some point. Although a faction I've been messing around with a little bit. Yeah, Ogies are strong. Still one of the best factions. That's my understanding. Like, what is the top four right now? Or, like, what's generally considered to be the top four? So, add Ogies in there. Well, if I'm thinking about it... I see a lot of Dark Elves. And I play an awful lot of good players on Dark Elves, but I don't know how I feel about them. Because Ogies make sense because it's just a heavy mass faction that works. Now, the Sky Striders scare me, even when I have means of taking them out. Like, what else is there? How good are Tomb Kings? I feel like I see them a lot. Like, a lot. And I feel like I always see them do pretty well. Hot take. Top 3 is Ogres, Tomb Kings, and Dark Elves. You see, it's hard to tell what it is that I'm just seeing a lot of and what is actually, like, insanely good. I'm never quite sure. Alright, well, we have 3 options. We've already technically casted Spotify. So who's unlikely? Here's the way that we'll do it. We've basically seen most people. So, do we want to watch Norska versus Vampire Counts? Both of these players are likely to make it into the next one. Seen High Elves. What's Dark? We can watch a Knife Ears fight. Let's do Spotify and Milky Way. Let's do that. My last game I did so well, but my Furies cannot hold his lord in place even when I net him. Lol. Interesting. Alright, let's do Milky Way and Spotify. And let me make sure that I actually put up my thing. There we go. We did it. We did it, guys. We didn't ruin the tournament. Let's fucking go. What's game name? What's game name? Oh. 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 Cool. Alright, there's apparently 2 spectators possible. Let me find the game. Alright, Milky Way has done the thing. What's the name of... What map are we using? Sword of Torgevald. So we'll find that. What are they doing? Sword of Torgevald. Nice. All right. 2 spectators. So it's Demons of Chaos versus Skaven. Spotify, 2 crowd favorites. Milky Way versus the no-caster king himself in the flesh. And we'll make sure that we get a match from Hamster and everyone else who didn't make it. Now, let's hope that having 4 people in the lobby doesn't break everything. If so, we'll just call everyone a laggard and then continue on with our day. But yeah, I'll try and make sure that we get everyone cast today. I'm feeling pretty awake, so we'll be good to go. And as ever... Sorry, I have to do the thing. Hey guys, if you like the stream, if you like what we're doing here, help out your boy. Give me a follow. Subscribe, like, share, all of that stuff. It's gonna be great, guys. Alright, that's the disgusting self-promotion done. We got that out of the way. We cleared that one up. We're good to go. There's some weird stuff with certain flying units that are completely bugged Spotify. Apparently bats have like crazy amounts of mass because their models are kind of weird. That's what I've heard. I don't know if that's actually true or not, but it seems pretty consistent. Who will win? A giant dinosaur riding a lizard riding a dinosaur, or one flying rat? Who's gonna push who? Oh, this is one for the fans. Oh my word. The bravery from both of these guys is pretty wild. But I'm not sure if Furies followed that same. DK lose badly in some important matchups like the Dwarf one. No. You say it's a bit. That's what you do, Spotify. And if you win, you were memeing and you were just sandbagging. That's the play. All right, now has the lobby glitched the fuck out? Oh. Oh. It's trying. It's trying real hard. Is it gonna do it? Is it gonna do it? We're doing our best. Oh, because one of the I may need to host. We'll see what happens. It should work now. It depends who the host was. Or I could just leave. Bruh. It did this to me earlier, and I've absolutely no idea as to why. And yoinking that gif. What's up, Captain Owl? How's it going, duder? Were you host? I can try and host and see if that works. Just save your builds real quick. Here we go. Oh, never mind. Milky Way's hosting. Give it a second for... Awesome. Such awesome old school art. Yeah, I'm very fond of I still own covers the game. It does for now, just while people are building Captain. It's a tournament, so I don't want people to stream snipe builds and stuff. Although we should be good to go now in just a moment, assuming I could be the laggard. Though they think all of us are EU, no? I forget where Spotify is from. So yeah, we're just waiting for our players to finish up and then we'll get ready to casting the game. I should actually turn off the chat now that I think about it, because it's kind of in the way. YouTube has been much more active than Twitch these days, which makes sense. This is where the community, the Total War lot seem to revolve. That's bass. I'm USA. Oh, you're a Yank. I didn't know that. My apologies. I don't know any more details. I'll post the challenge of what we're doing so far. I should have probably posted that before anyway. Put the money in Twitch chat. To shoot. There's the tournament. I'll be hosting these most Saturdays, assuming I'm free. I'm just trying to find a time that it doesn't clash with anyone. Because I know the RTK lads are hosting their new player tourneys, so I don't want to clash too much with it. Because Maverick seems to be doing a grand old job over there with that stuff. So I don't want to step on anyone's toes. But the Saturday slot is just very useful. Both Nurgle's PA and Butcher were very kind to basically say, nah, you can have it, boss. And of course the Under Empire crew, who were wonderful. Who let me use their Discord to do all this shit. Y'all are amazing. If I do stream next week, I'll probably do my VL placement matches. Just because I just need to get off my arse and fucking do it. Or just commentating. I was going to play, but we had an odd number of players and I didn't want to see anyone... have to have buy rounds and stuff like that in my account, so I just left. If there's an open slot, I'll play in future, but... And I think this is the last round of the pools before we go into top 4. And so, we will start taking a look at the different players. The players. There we go. Alright. On the side of the Skavens, we are going to see some Plague Monk Censor Bearers, some Clan Rats, more Plague Monk Censor Bearers, backline of Poison Wind Globadiers, the Tooth Breakers, Poison Wind Globadiers, and of course some more Clan Rats in the backfield. Gorich, doing Gorich things to take on those single entities. More Skitter's Hellion, another Mutant Rat Ogre. The Avalanche Mortars, and of course Ikit Claw on his Doom Wheel, the Brass Orb, Unlimited Power, Warp Lightning, Howling Warp Gale, and Flensing Ruin. That is the Skavens, along with the 2 Poison Wind Globadiers. On the side of Spotify, we're seeing a staunch line of angry Eldritch Horrors beyond your comprehension. Blue Horrors, some Demonettes, classing up the joint a little bit. More Blue Horrors, and some more Demonettes on the flanks, along with an Exalted Greater Unclean One, along with an unending wave of Furies. 1 of Khorne. 2. 1 of Slaanesh. He is the 4 colours. He did it. He's the Rainbow Man. As we're going to see the Toothbreakers do their silly little things and make pew-pew noises. I would imagine in our not too distant future we're about to see... Oh man, they're getting nuked. They're getting nuked. As we see the dive here on these chaps. Milky Way probably setting up for some shenanigans. As a Howling Warp Gale is undoubtedly on its way, and so it is. As the Toothbreakers skitter away. That's going to be a lot of damage though on these Poisoned Wind Globadiers. The Blue Horrors are throwing their globes of fire. Great balls of fire. We're going to see more stuff come down here. Clan Rats doing their best. More pew-pew noises come in over the horizon as unfortunately the Avalanche Mortars are about to be taken down. Blue Horrors nuking down this Plague Censor Bearer. As we're seeing not much in the way of counter dive coming in here. Gorich trying his best to get these Chaos Furies to get them out of here. More blue fire comes in, and the Exalted Great Unclean One ambling forward menacingly as it doesn't look too hot. As the Demons of Chaos, along with some Nurglings that were in the backfield, starting to skedaddle forward. Another Tempest is probably going to come down now any second, but the Fury is getting pew-pewed out of existence, but not before the entire lines are crumbling. As we're seeing the Demonettes get danger close. Double teamed by Demonettes on the menu this day as we see Gorich and the Morskitter's Hellion come down. A Brass Orb comes down here from the side of Ikit. But to nuke these dudes down. And unfortunately it's going to be the Teeth Breakers broken. No, it is your teeth that shall be broken this day. Down comes the Warp Lightning. There's the Dream Team. The Goon Squad of more Skitters. Icket. And the more Skitter and a regular... Just Gorich. I keep thinking he's a regular one, but no, it's Gorich. As the Duel of the Century. Trying to rally some of these clan rats. The distraction Carnifex that is in fact Ica Claw. He's zooming, he's dodging, he's diving, but unfortunately the great balls of fire coming down here from the side of the Blue Horrors. Nuking down the poor Hellion. We still have some Plague Sensor Bears, but might be just arriving a little bit too late. It seems these clan rats are on the verge of routing. Gorge is going to be hit with a Warp Lightning, comes down here. The Blobby McBlob face, but unfortunately, Morskitter is going to go down. Gorich stuck in the middle of some Demonettes. But unfortunately, it is not the dream he thinks it is as he's getting torn to itty bitty bits. Take a claw about to Duke dive, dodge, weave, and dodge. Fortunately, it's not looking too great as these Plague Sensor Bears are being sent off. And alas, not very much friendly fire here, but it does look as though everything is en route. It's just Ica Claw, who I don't think can really spell kite this one out, as everything is en route. Oh dear. Oh no. More Skitters comes in. He's back with a vengeance. As another Brass Orb comes down here, nuking these chaps down. But I think that's kind of the last gasp, because there's no magic damage really on the field. All of these chaps are being run off. The last Plague Monk Sensor Bearer getting chased off. He's probably going to be caught here. Oh dear. Oh no. It's just more Skitters. And unfortunately, the attacking rule is going to come into play here, so we can't spell kite this one out forever. Although the three dudes up against the world. Backs against the wall. The bravery. The camaraderie. Using the power of friendship to try and even this one out. Unfortunately, Gorich earns the adage, he who runs away lives to fight another day. And it's literally just Ica Claw here. He does have some targets to choose to chase after stuff. We do see these chaps come back, which might be able to help just a little bit. But it ain't looking too great on a level with y'all. As we're seeing these Demonettes look like they're about to be taken down. Furies have come back. There are still some more options. As the ping-ponging begins. As he just got yeeted. Yeeting on him. He just got yoted. As we're seeing these Demonettes get chased off. Goes for another bit of a hit. All three of them, along with the Flensing Ruin coming down. Gorich has come back. Now the three homies back at it again, bravely standing against the odds. But it looks like Gorich is probably going to get taken down here. Yeah, he's gone. He's shattered. And so too the hopes and dreams of the Skavens. All three of them taking him on. As I'd imagine army losses aren't too far away. Another Brass Orb comes down. Probably going to take out these chaps. Army losses in your horizon. Because there's only some hot single entities in your area. As the Morskitters is doing his best. He thought about it, but unfortunately he's going to shatter. And that's going to be all she wrote, folks. Alright. That is going to be Spotify on the scorecard. Milky Way sadly didn't make it. Moment of silence for poor Milky Way. As let's take a look at the values. 1,000, even though he barely participated just at the very end. Some Nurglings did Nurgling things. These chaps did a grand old job. Too unclean even for Skaven standards. Well, the Horned Rat totally isn't an aspect of Nurgle. I wanted him to fight the three guys. I honestly think... What's the hardest faction to micro in tournament play? It depends on what build you're going for, but I'd imagine it's probably Slaanesh. Slaanesh are pretty micro intensive. Slaanesh are very micro intensive because they're so glass cannon-y. Or at least they used to be. I don't know what the story is now. Like, all of the Demonettes died here. One of them, two of them got really good value. One of them did okay and the rest didn't do great at all. Demons of Chaos and Tzeentch used to be in that category. There's a few of them. That's just a Demonette thing. They're very glass cannon-y. Like if I look at the factions here that are like super micro intensive, there's a few. But it's still going to be build dependent at the end of the day. Because like Beastmen are pretty micro intensive because they're kind of weaker units. Not because of Kite, it's just because they have to play. Brett's very cav heavy, but they do okay. Slaanesh, Tzeentch, Wood Elves are very micro-intensive unless you're going for like a 20 stack, which is obscene and should be wiped off the face of the planet. That stuff sucks. That's just me. If it depends on how much. Generally speaking, it boils down to how much mobility you have access to and how fragile most of that mobility is usually the thing. But even then, you can still do like super low micro builds, like all infantry boxes and stuff like that are pretty low micro intensive. Is there early game? It's more done. Nicely done. Alright, let's take a quick peek. Just double check your matches are all. Double check your scores, everyone. Double check your scores, everyone. And we can crack on with the finals. So let's take a quick peek while we wait for everyone. Group stage is finished. Let's just take a quick peek at the standings. See how everyone's doing. So at the top, currently we've Statist, who's on a 4-0. Good lord. Tank with a 3-0, with a 3-1. Curio with 3-1. And Hanadans with a 2-2. Matches. Let me just double check that everything is okay on Challenge's side. I believe it's going to be Hanadans going in. Yeah, it's Hanadans, Curio, Tank, and Stasis by the looks of things. So, it's Vampire Counts, Norska, Greenskins, and the Empire. Oh man, that first match is going to be rough. Ouch. Okay. Think everyone's happy. If there's any problems, double check your scores. I think all the scores seem okay to me. So, last call for any changes that need to be done. I haven't had any even bull chows. Yeah, I'm not sure what the story is there, why Challenge. Because both Hanadans and... it could be just the initial seeding. I'm not sure. I might have to be a little bit more careful with that. because like you have I usually just move around the top 4 to try and decide like matchups and stuff. Okay, so I think we're gonna end maybe alphabetically. It could well be. I'm not sure how challenge does it. It wouldn't shock me. Oh, GG's everyone. Hard fought, hard fought. So it does look like it's going to be the Vampire Counts versus the Empire. Oh god. And then Norska versus Greenskins. So we're gonna look at the... Alright, so Hanadins at status number 25. Open spec slot chaps and send code. Next thought chaps and send code. It could well be. Again, I don't know how it deals with tiebreakers and stuff like that. It could be a case that we might do more rounds in future, but that's a lot of games. And I know it's quite late for some people. I do try to keep this as EU and NA friendly as I humanly can. Let's start the final stage. There we go. Final bracket is what I should have said. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Alright, cool. Let's crack on with this and get the overlay up. Nito Do Rito. Multiplayer battles. So we're in Gorgasm. It's Curio. Yeah, it is V1. Expected. The forbidden password once more. Yeah, I'm super interested to see how this goes. I'm very curious as to status build here. What he's going to go with. Because the Empire matchup is cursed. To put it very simply. I still don't really know what you're supposed to do. Ugh. Like, my usual answer is just to go for a super cheap Lord. And hope that the Lumi doesn't get you. Because, like, there's so many different ways for the Empire to play into you. They can just go full Cancer Kite. They can do pretty ridiculous blobs. They can just blob up with Volkmar, and it's just awful. I can go for like even more Lord Snipe stuff with just ugh. It's pretty nasty. I know some people have like very specific builds that they do run into it, but with the Lumi just basically one-shotting everything, it's just I get confused. Ugh. But that's one of the reasons why I'm curious as to what Statist brings into this, because I've had success with his builds, so... Which I will steal wholesale. Thank you. Thank you, Stasis, for the end-of-the-line development project you've been running. Depends on the map for Luminac. Well, I mean, obviously. But even then, like, the Lumi is still super obnoxious. Super obnoxious. Although, yeah. I mean, at that point, pretty much all maps then are that way inclined, you know? Or you could say, but for the most part, most VL matches are kind of fairly sparse when it comes to terrain and stuff like that. To varying degrees. Varying degrees. Which is a good thing and a bad thing. Or I guess that criticism is kind of It's still incredibly matchup dependent regardless. Because it woefully restricts your lord choices, whether of which, or at least your decision making with it. I would consider it matchup defining. But that's just me. That could be a massive skill issue on my part. I'll defer to the geniuses. Oh, God. And it'll be interesting to see as well if I know Hanniden's in the first match took out the hammer. He said it was hammer time, and he hammer timed all over the place with the hammer of the witches. Excuse me. Which for land battle is pretty useful. Just having a means of poking, forcing the other person to have to come to you. But I'm pretty contented with the matches we're seeing on the land battle stuff compared to Conquest. I'm seeing at least more dynamic gameplay than, oh, there is an infantry blob here. Congrats. Now spend 10 minutes trying to deal with it. Lamau. Which I'm pretty contented with. This should be good. I'm curious as to how this one is going to go. Very curious. I forget who it was as well who said that for Quick Battle Empire isn't too bad, simply by virtue of the fact there's so many ways for them to pick the bad units. Which of them was it that said that? Which of you fuckers was it? Alright, well, we're cracking on. I will say, I'm curious as to how this will do. This is interesting. We're just going to wait a second. The players start to get their armies put together and all that jazz. Give new one the advantage or the disadvantage and all that jazz. And all that jazz. Although people should be able to piece some stuff together with them. How can you hate on inf blobs when you play VC? Because the most interesting gameplay from VC is their mobility elements. Like, Vargies are cool as fuck. Blood Knights are sick. I love Blood Knights. If the infantry blob as VC is winning, then something has gone horribly wrong in the other person's gameplay. I would argue anyway. Because like an infantry, most vampire counts just flat out lose the infantry blob. The only time where it's particularly relevant is the is like in very specific matchups. Very specific matchups. Alright, let's take away the screen blocker. Kaboom. There we go. From the side of Hannidan's, we are going to see some Outriders. Some of which with grenade launchers, others with rifles. The Empire's finest dragoons. A staunch line of spears. The Empire Knights to back them up. And of course, Elspeth van Draken up in the skies. With the Death's Timekeeper. The Dark Walker. The Fate of Buna. The Leeching of Spirits. And the Aspect of the Dread Knight. Along with Living Darkness. As they're shaping up. And we do see some Cairn Wraiths. The Grave Guard. Some Bozos. Of which you have ample supply. The Dire Pack. Some Bats that go bump in the night. Ospicot up top. Vlad von Karstein in the most thematic way possible. Corpse Carpet on Holy Lodestone and a pair of White Kings. The White Kings, one of which has Scab Scraith. The other, naked. The inhumanity. And Varghese up on the top. Some Graveguard with great weapons. Who are going to be... And the zombies getting charged right off the bat. Cairn Wraiths. Of which there are 2. And the poor Darpak getting shot to itty bitty bits. What has Vlad got? What's he rocking? Master of Beguilement. Ray's dead. Nehek. Von Karstein Ring. The Hunger. And the Blood Drinker. My man's is going to be regenning like it's going out of fashion. But? Huh? Who resigned? Did Stasis just resign? I can't tell. Yeah, that makes sense. It does make sense. He doesn't really have much ways of dealing with the... I imagine Stasis resigned. Who resigned? Who called it? I'm imagining it's Stasis. He doesn't have the mobility to deal with most of the stuff. I'm sure all will become... Yeah. I'm just not sure. VC lost. Yeah. The roulette was strong with this one. Let me download the semi-finals anyway while we just wait to confirm who did what. Replays. Has neither of them confirmed which one is which? Because it is going to be Curio in the next one. Whoever's fighting Curio. Which of you resigned? Who resigned? Unless I got kicked. That's also possible. Icon on the top so the number things to the status is good to match or crashed. It's also possible. Or... gotcha. confirm this, yeah. Confirm this, yeah. This. Just boat one. Just boat one. Okay. I have no mobility, I suppose. That made pretty... It did make sense. I'm just making sure he didn't crash or something like that. That was my assumption. That is the downside with the SFTs. Just boat one. Perfect. All right. So we're going to go with Hadidans versus Curio. All right. All right. Oh, and we're in again. Marvelous. Let me just put up the screen blocker then as Curio is induced. Just put one. So if I do decide to do prize pools or something like that, it most certainly won't be for an SFT. And I don't think there's much point in doing like best of threes and stuff like that for only... for like these SFTs and stuff like that, considering they're only really for fun. We'll look into some custom stuff that stops things like that from happening in future. We will do our best. You can do it. I'd actually just do a pick 2 system and base it off of seeds. Top seed chooses, then bottom seed chooses, then top seed chooses, then bottom seed chooses. I don't... The alternation leads you into the exact same problems, Prime. You just base it off of seeding to decide who picks and who doesn't pick first. And then alternate it. I'd need to chat with Butcher and a few others. Or some other good players. To figure out the best way to begin the seeding and stuff. You can have the finals be picked. Now you can have the entire thing be a pick. Or you could just do a locked pick 3. Otherwise it would take too long. Not if it would literally just be like you're adding 10 to 15 minutes onto the entire event. Which I can get by just like not casting live. I can just do like whatever is the way that I'm thinking. Or just cast the first one and then just go through round 1 while the Swiss rounds are in progress. Would be the way that I'd do it. But yeah, a pick 2 as opposed to a pick 3 that you have to set at the beginning. Just to make sure that there's no paralysis. Like, oh, you have 2 factions. Is how I'm considering doing it anyway. Just so you avoid like completely cursed matchups right out the gate. Like completely cursed ones. Or at least diminish the fact. We're looking into different formats that are more casual than the standard pick 3s in future. Alright, there we go. Alright. Alright, we'll give it a second, folks, and let everyone decide their stuff. Ah, dear. But yeah, that's what's rocking around in my head, because I'm looking at how the Dawn of War crowd did their stuff, and it was always a pick 2, and then they just like got funky with seeding and stuff like that, which is how you kind of have to do it. Some people are only going to play one faction anyway, so it doesn't make much odds, but, you know, that's just it. Because the big problem I have with the standard pick 3 stuff is that it takes for fucking ever. At least from what I've heard talking to people. It's a much more competitive format, and it's borderline required if you're doing like prize pools and stuff like that. Which I might look into in future as well. Just like $20 gift card or whatever for whoever wins the tournament. But it definitely wouldn't be for an SFT. Because that just sounds like a recipe for deranged shit. What's up? Hey dude, GG's. I know the matchup at the end there is super fucking tough, but that's just how it happens. I was saying to everyone earlier on that I'll be looking into different formats to try and avoid like complete cursed matchups and finals and stuff. Statist. So we'll look into that in future, but it seems as though the structure of everything is more or less put together. So we can just take a quick peek at the builds. Looking here, we are going to see Hanadans, a rock and some spearmen, some sword, the Sigmar Sons. And then more spearmen. Looking at Free Company Militia in the backfield here as well, along the Hochland long rifles. Followed up by some Knights of the Blazing Sun. The Knights of the Blazing Sun, along with some Demigriffs. Carly Boy and his pocket heel. His heel pocket. Coming in here, who's going to have Earthblood, Flesh to Stone, and a Power Stone. Does Franzi Boy have anything fancy? No, just the Reichland Runefang and Gerald Miraz. Pretty standard stuff. And then in the backfield, we're going to have Savage Orc, Boar Boys, of which there are a handful. Looking here, Goblings, more Goblings, the cannon fodder, but will it gobble back? These are questions. Great Shaman, of course, with Vindictive Glare, the Sneaky Stabbing, don't even try it, and the Crown of Command, along with the Arcane Conduit. And I believe these, yeah, oh, Rugland's Armoured Orcs here in the backfield as well. And do we have any other shenanigans afoot? Is there tomfoolery hidden amongst the goblins? Not really. But the first shots are ringing out across the field. The Hochland long rifles taking some shots at the Broken Tusk mob. Franz looking to steady the line across the board. And then looking here. Looky here, see, as the front line is about to engage. We're not going for a full surround. Does seem as though we're looking to enter through the front door, as opposed to knocking on the back one, as we're going to see. Oh my god, did they body block for the Hochland long rifles? They might have. And imagine that's where that cast was going, and it didn't actually clock any of them. They just got demi-gripped, which will be healed up in a matter of seconds. Wowzers. Everyone's chilling here as the front line is about to engage. We're playing a patient game here as the Hochland long rifles continue to take pot shots here. The Rugland Armoured Orcs getting shot to itty bitty bits. More archers coming up forward here to take pot shots. As we're playing a very patient game to begin with, we do see the Demigriffs starting to look at things to hit. Franzi Boy has absorbed most of the charge from the Broken Tusk mob, who will be charged in return. As these goblins marching up forward here to try and get some damage. They are getting nuked off. Good lord. These poor Savage Orc Boar Boys, they didn't know what hit them. Moving over here on the flanks. We're going to see some more knocking on the front door. But the Free Company Militia skirmishing them off with precision, dedication, the gunpowder, and the faith. And here we see the Arrow Boys locking up. The Goblin moving in to try and take on stuff as a counter charge comes in here on the Armoured Orc, on the Demigriffs, but looks like a heal's come in anyway. And it does look as though the Spooder is going to be in a spot of bother. I hear a charge comes through with the Knights of the Blazing Sun trying to cleave through these goblins. The Arab boys going to launch fire from the counter battery. As that's going to be a rout here on the flanks. The Orcs looking for an opportunity to come in here. That does seem as though that's a Free Company militia out for the count. We still have the Hochland long rifles in play. Seen a counter charge coming in here as the Knights of the Blazing Sun trying desperately to peel. But it does seem as if the Dunkirk Squigs are going to get rid of one of the Knights of the Blazing Sun. Mobility now. A little bit more tattered from the side of the Empire. And the Demigryphs come in as Vindictive Glare is going to do a little bit of damage. As we're seeing these spearmen start to get taken out. Unfortunately, though, these knights have come back. Not content to sit idly by as they're about to charge in here. The Squigs. The great Squiggening may not be, as we're seeing these Demigryphs get harried and harassed. But looking at the Savage Orc boys who've been playing so very patiently. Moving in now to try and take on the militia. But alas, it does seem as though Franzi Boy is going to come in to support. Not before some of the ranged is going to be taken out. The Savage Orc Boar boys are going to be taken out here by both the Knights of the Blazing Sun. As another shot rings out. Bam! That is damage. Good lord. Might be en route. Balance of power very much now in the favour of the Greenskins to start off with. But they're giving it their honest try here to try and take some stuff out. As that's going to be another broken... I was going to say another broken dust. Nor Savage Orcs taken out. But unfortunately the backfield is very much compromised here. Demigryph still in play. Night Goblins. Holding everything down. But they still have the Loons of the Eight Peaks in their back pocket should they need it. It's going to be the ranged contingent taken down. Savage Orc Boar boys moving out. And we still have the range contingent in the backfield. But these Royal Altdorf Griffites nom-nom-nomming their way through, but they're still in play. A heal comes down for Franz and the Griffites by the looks of things. So it does, along with Life Bloom. But it does seem as though things are looking pretty grim for the side of the Empire. We still have our caster man here in the backfield. Some spears giving it their honest college try. But there's still a lot of greenskins. And there's only a handful of mobility pieces left. Franz, gonna give this chap an old bitter of a batterton. And that's gonna be the Greenskins taking the W. GG's! How did they do? Franzi Boy did okay. Sigmar's Sons got obliviated into the next dimension. Hochland Long Rifles, I think they almost paid for themselves. They're what, like 800, 900? Knights of the Blazing Sun struggled. The Griffites did okay. And as for the Mean and Greens, 2300. And they did okay. And then just the Boar Boys did a phenomenal job. Cool beans. Very nicely done, gents. Alright. Alright, and the finals. Congrats Congrats. I like the format. I much prefer land battles to Conquest. I think it generally, as a general rule, tends to make at least slightly more engaging matches for the most part. Like, obviously, there's still weird stuff that can happen. Like, you're still kind of at the mercy of the bracket and stuff like that. Like, I do feel sorry for, like, Milky Way, or even yourself, Satis, in the finals there. That was pretty cool. But yeah, let me just put out the old delusion, the finals, and cast matches for a while. GG's, everyone. But still, yeah, and I mean, it happens. I mean the group stages, semis, etc. I just think it's more interesting, personally, to have like something to go in. I didn't mean land battle. Oh, I see. The group stage, semis, etc. I mean, I just stole it from the RTK lads, what they used to do with their beginners tournaments, or the new player tournaments, or whatever you're supposed to call them. And we did pretty much that for Souls, whenever I did pick up, whenever I started doing the Swiss stuff. I think it's an awful lot of fun. Like, if the numbers are high enough, we could do top 8. If there's nothing necessarily stopping it, but it's the time commitment. It helps you stay in the tournament. Yeah, exactly. Which I think is quite nice. Like, both Hanedans and Ryder, it was like a coin flip as to which of them was going to get through, I think. I literally think it was a coin flip. So I might change the way I do things. But GG's, everyone. Again, if you have any feedback, before we crack on with the casts for the rest of it, if you have any feedback and you have any like advice or anything like that to give, I'm always hungry for it. I want to make all this stuff better. Become the best. All that jazz. So, yeah, my DMs are always open. So, do feel free to put some stuff in. And if you have any inclination into the Pick 2 format that I've been thinking of running for a while, be sure to let me know your thoughts on that, or how we'd go about seeding. I think is the seeding and the rules around who picks first, it become kind of like the most important stuff for that. Because in a Pick 2 you still end up, like, I know Prime had the system of, you just can't use the same one twice. I still think that can lead to the exact same problem. It's just different because you have some agency in it. But we'll consider that for again. We do have a lot of battles, and we have a bunch of people who we haven't... Lucky final scene. I didn't have to play VC there. Well, all Stasis had to do was throw one match, and he wouldn't have to fight Hanetons. That's the agency that he had. Round game was pretty good. Yeah, there's a few people that I haven't seen on stream. There's Hamster and Pasha. So I'm going to do my best to get both of them on as quickly as I can. I don't think anyone else... Hamster, Pasha... Yeah, Hamster... There's actually a match with both of them, so we'll do that one first. But I'm going to need the restroom very quickly. And grab some more tea and water. So give us about a 2-minute intermission, folks, while I collect myself. And we will crack on with the rest of the event. Thanks again, everyone, and we will be back in 2 minutes. Alright, we have returned. So, let's crack on. So I'm looking for Hamster, I'm looking for Rider Pasha, Demons. Oh no. Did I miss that match? Let me just find it. Oh, tournaments. Tournament opponent. Let's see if we can... I'm seeing the gifs. Powerful stuff. VC versus Norska. Ryder versus Hamps. Ryder versus... Where is all of the replays? Demons of Chaos versus Dark Elves. Hanniden's Tank. VC versus High Elves. Skaven. Oh. Gapano. Oh, they didn't save. They didn't save any of the matches. Oh dear. All right. Well, Ryder versus Pasha is going to have to be the way we'll do it, and then we'll find a Dark Elf game. It doesn't seem as though either of them saved that match, so we'll just have to crack on with it regardless. Alright, well, on the side of Rider of Rohan, we are going to see Illyrian Reavers. And what's that? You get an Illyrian Reaver. You get an Illyrian Reaver. Of course, I have a noble who's taken absolutely naked, the audacity. And Caradrian, who is also giga naked. And they're hugging. That's crazy. Looking here, we are going to see some ship's company, backline of spearmen, and a backer line of spearmen as well, along with our light armored archers, regular archers, and light armored archers, along with the Archmage of Life, just with Earthblood and Life Bloom. Magnificent here, magnificent. And then on the side of the Ogis, Nobblers, more Nobblers, the nobblerest of Nobblers. Backed up by some Ogre Bulls in the backfield. Lead Belchers. More Lead Belchers. The Lions. But they're actually Tigers. Saber Tusks even. Sky Striders, Crushers, and the Amble Pack. The Yetis. And Yetis, we still have a couple more units. One of which is the Purple Son of Zarius on the Slaughtermaster. Spirit Leech. An aspect of the Dread Knight. And what else do we got here? We got anything else? What is he hiding in there? What is he building in there? And the answer is not much else other than the Yetis, Crushers. We got it all. As we are about to see the front lines meet, slowly but surely, ever so slowly but surely, as the Lead Belchers are going to belch lead. Kind of does what it says in the tin there. As we see the High Elves slowly but surely start to meet up, as unfortunately these Illyrian Reavers been cleft in twain by these very angry Lead Belchers. But the noble on a horse, look at his horse is amazing, with his dear friend Caladrian moving on in. Lead Belcher's still content to make pew pew noises. These Nobblers are going to be side charged here by the Reavers, who are exposing their flanks just a little bit. The ship's company start to move up. The Sky Striders move in for the kill. Some juicy single entities here, but not before there's a few volleys launched at these Lead Belchers. Whatever about anything else, but getting kited in the end game by some Lead Belchers is a little bit tilting. Just a smidge. As we see the Saber Tusk pack chase on into the staunch line of spears. But they are going to immediately skedaddle away. Little bit of damage there, no casualties. Ogre Bulls, Nobblers, and the Saber Tusks are chilling like villains here in the backfield. As the Mage up in the sky, probably going to put down an earth, but no, she's diving, she's weaving, going in after the Sky Striders here. And it does look as though they're going to be doing their damnedest here to try and edge this one out. We're going to see a little bit of friendly fire come in here. Nope, we are not. We're actually going to see the archers get shot to itty bitty bits. As we do see Blood Vultures. She did a breath attack, I missed it. Oopsies. Looking here, we are going to see that front line start to crumble. Archers compromised. Illyrian Reavers desperately running back in to try and defend that backfield. All the while, the Lead Belchers are doing funny Lead Belcher things. As they're going to run into combat! Help out. The Sky Striders keep everything in place. She is continuing to run these guys off. All the while, backfield completely compromised. Illyrian Reavers trying to hold back these Yetis, but alas, it's not looking good. As the Crushers are still back in, another heal comes in. All the while now moving back in now to try and continue to compromise the ranged fire of the Ogres themselves. Unfortunately, these Illyrian Reavers idling off in the backfield. About to get hit. Still making pew pew noises here, as we are going to see both the Noble and Galadriel try and chase off these chaps. Sabertusk pack is having a grand old time nomming on the ankles on these poor Illyrian Reavers. Spearmen are en route. Caught in the middle of some Yetis, and it ain't looking good for the poor High Elves. A sentence I never thought I'd say. All the while, the Mage of Life continuing to chase off that single Sky Strider. He's very brave. He's probably going to come back, as that's one of the Lead Belchers being sent off. They're probably going to try and chase that down. He still isn't shattered. There's one of them left. And he just does not want to... He's going to rally. And with the rebel yell, he went... Ugh, as he's been chased off the field. Finally, at long last, Lead Belchers are gone. We still have Galadriel and the Noble about to take on these Lead Belchers over here. The Archmage skedaddling over as fast as her two little wings can carry her. Try and get out the Lead Belchers here, at least take out the ranged fire. The Elves continuing to try and kite this out here. They're still fulfilling that attacking rule, and some Spearmen about to come in and give a helping hand. How kind of them to finally get involved. Right, Blood Vultures are en route. It looks like they're not going to be coming back anytime soon. All the while, we are going to see these spears continue to do spear things against the monsters, but they still have Nobbler support, so it ain't looking too hot. All the while, slowly but surely, we're seeing the little bits and pieces start to get taken out here. And unfortunately, there's enough mobility still in play here for the side of the Ogres to more or less take out any of the archers that are left, so they're going to be firing their last shots as another heal comes down. Sabertusk's still in play over on this flank. These poor spearmen, they're doing their damnedest, but is their damnedest good enough? How much value did these archers get? 450. These guys are getting 355. They're not doing much casualties, but at least they're doing their best. As we're seeing some terror outs come out here from the side of the Sabertusk pack. The Iron Reavers coming in here now to try and escort everything off. Not really going to be in much of a position to do much. Galadriel and the Noble still duking it out. They're duking their diving. How many breath attacks does she have left? She still has 2 more uses available. But as the horde descends, the last of the ranged fire coming out here. 355. Ripping a few shots as they're needed. Balance of power is oddly still very much in the favor of... as these Illyrian Reavers have finally started to match up with each other. Might get these archers back, but it's looking unlikely as the Doom and Darkness comes down. Or no, what is that? That's not Doom and Darkness. The aspect of the Dread Knight. Trying to terror out some stuff. My mistake. Ripperoni. As the Sabertusk pack is going to be taken out. These Nobblers are still in play here. They might catch Ryder off guard. As he does see them coming. And elects to get the fuck out of dodge, I reckon. Going here after some of that mass. We do see Pasha continuing to try and chase off some of these pieces. As we see the archers come back now. This is actually a pretty tight match. I'm not sure how this one goes. As we're seeing Illyrian Reavers charge into some Nobblers here just to try and break them. Which they'll probably do in the not too distant future. These guys are on escort duty as it stands. But it does look as though they're going to be caught up here. How much value have these Nobblers gotten? 194, that's to be expected. Another Illyrian Reaver charge comes in. Through the trees. The trees are talking. And they're talking Nobbler. And here we still have the Yetis in play. We're going to get a nice cast. And so we do. Some more healing. As that's another unit of Nobblers gone. These guys are en route. I can see why this match took as long as it took. As we're seeing the dive on some. Are these pigback riders? No, they're just regular ass Nobblers. Archers still making pew pew noises here on the flanks. Firing their last shots just to get that little bit of value. And Overcast here comes down. Aspect of the Dread Knight is down. Saber-Tusk Pack is in play still. But the Mage up in the skies. Illyrian Reaver's getting a nice charge here on some Ogre Bulls. Along with some spears, so holding them up in that's a little bit of a tasteful amount of mass, I dare say. Tasteful. No, the archers are still going to rout though. While over here on this flank here, we still have the SE Goon Squad doing their thing. Oh my god! I'm imagining that was a breath attack if ever there was one. Unfortunately, not the best of trades came out over here, as in one of the Illyrian Reavers is running for the hills. Was that a breath attack? It was a breath attack. I didn't miss it. These small mobility engagements are going to be incredibly important here. But with these Nobblers coming into support now, it's not looking great. We might get a nice charge in here, but it does seem as though we're going... Yep, counter-charging here into the Ogre Bulls. Just to hold them in place for a little bit longer, but it does seem as though they're going to be routed off. The dive in full swing here as more spears move in to try and hold these Ogre Bulls in check. The Yetis yet still stand. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. But now without means of routing off very much of anything here. Ogre Bulls are routing off the last little bits of mass. Still in play. As the Mage up in the skies. These chaps are isolated over here. This will be an opportunity for her to move in as a breath attack comes down with fire and flame. Not quite as dramatic as I thought it was going to be. But it does seem as though most of the Ogre stuff is now starting to rout off. Balance of power very much now in the favour of the Helfs, who are in high health still. Ogre Bulls, terror routing, now in full rout. Nobbler is probably not too far behind as the Archmage is going to be clobbering some fellers. As these Nobblers are fighting off this tattered remnant of Spearmen over here on the flanks. One unit is all it'll take to rout here, and then we're in big trouble. As there's a little bit more gas in the tank when it comes to heals and stuff. It does look as though Caradhran is going to move on. Oh, it's just a regular ass noble, never mind. Another heal comes through here for the Spearman. Keeping everyone still in play. The Yeti is probably going to terror rout now any second. As the Nobbler support is slowly but surely bleeding away. Victory is in the grasp of the High Elves. Ryder, you mad lad. Managed to take the win. That was a good match. Good job. I literally thought that was over as soon as the Illyrian Reavers just started melting. And the Archer backline was completely compromised. But no. Tenacity. That crazy man. That was dead close. Good job to both. The SE Goon Squad. Doing SE Goon Squad things. Oh, baby, a triple. Alright. Do we have the Dark Elves? Where are the Dark Elves? Dark Elves. Yeah. The Evils. Evil creatures. I know. I'm looking for some Dark Elf games. Greenskins versus Vampire Cons. Demons of Chaos. Oh, we'll get Spotify in. Fuck it, why not? Alright, let's take a peek. We've Rider versus Hamster as well. But we'll take a little bit of a Rider of Rohan break. This is Daft's place. Alright, cool beans. Let me grab... I think that's all of the matches. I think I have pretty much all of them anyway. Battle replays. Pass around one. Where are we? Yeah, there we go. Let's watch Spotify do Spotify things. Never mind, accidentally correct. As you do. I love when I'm wrong, but right. Or right, but for the wrong reasons. It's very satisfying. Alright. Oh, Jesus. They're off to the races. Good lord. Alright, on the side of Spotify. What silliness is he bringing today? We are going to see the change bringers. Oh, God. Chaos Furies. Is he doing one of each color? Khorne. Slaanesh. Khorne. Nah, he didn't bring Nurgle. Coward. As we see some Seekers of Slaanesh here on the flanks. 2 on one. 1 on the other. Some Demonettes. Herald of Khorne and the Changebringers up top, along with a single Nurgling. Very ambitious Nurgling, I will add. Very, very ambitious. And we have the Tormentor Sword, Locus of Wrath, and of course he's the Hellblade shenanigans. Looking here, we are going to see on the side of the Dark Elves, we have some Dread Spears. A bristling front line of them, Black Arc Corsairs. Some with handbows. Others without, of which there are plenty. And then the Cold One Knights in the backfield, ready to dive. Or counter dive, I guess, in this case. And we have the Power of Darkness, Blade Wind, Soul Stealer, and Arcane Conduit on the side of our Supreme Sorceress of Derek and a Khainate Assassin with his Web of Shadows, Assassin's Trophy. And that's it. Nice. Nothing outranges them here. Yeah, it's pretty spooky. I just wince every time I see Changebringers. I'm just so emotionally distraught by those goddamn things. Furies are going to march forward. We are going to see the Cold Ones here, about to be charged by some Seekers of Slaanesh, along with the Chaos Furies of Khorne. In over the top. Front line is about to be met as... Oh my god, those Changebringers did damage. Good god. We're going to see stuff start to move forward. They are going to be harried by the Supreme Sorceress and a Manticore. We do see a nice dive here by the Khainate. The Slaanesh Furies here, but unfortunately these Seekers of Slaanesh are not having a great day. I think it might be worth diving some chaps in on top. Let me hear these Slaaneshi creatures moving forward. We are going to see these Nurglings caught up with some spears. And they're going to be just melted. Oh my lord. Both sides trading. Their cavalry not doing so great on one flank. Over here we're going to see the Khorne Furies dive in with support of their Slaaneshi brethren. And that's the... Good God! Jesus! We're seeing these chaps continue to do vicious work. Khorne Furies here catching up these Black Orc Corsairs. As an awful lot of the mobility elements are gone. Moving over here, we're seeing a juicy target here for the Changebringers. Might be able to help this one out. We're seeing these exalted... Yeah, they're exalted Demonettes or War. About to chase down some Black Arc Corsairs. Furies of Khorne here continuing to mince them. Changebringers, unfortunately, not able to get the targets they wanted. Harried off by the Supreme Sorceress of Dark. We're still seeing the kite out here from the side of the Black Arc Corsairs on the flanks. Slaaneshi demons doing unspeakable things to those Dark Elves. As we're going to see another shot. No, unfortunately, we don't have very much of the skies to support them. These Chaos Furies of Khorne should probably be diving the ranged units. As it seems the front line now is completely diminished here from the side of Hamster. Cold One Knights are still very much in play though. We do see the Herald of Corn try and get the hell out of dodge. Changebringers here are still being kited out. Unfortunately, they're going to be caught by the Supreme Sorceress. Uh-oh. If they go down, this might not be a particularly good position. Chaos Fury is still trying their damnedest, and they're going to be burning away. Single shot rings out here. Of all the targets, I'm not sure these are the guys you really want to be targeting. They're continuing to be kited out. I think getting these Changebringers out back around to try and take out some of the cavalry, which is currently mincing your poor infantry. They're really the thing that you want to be watching out for. As they're still being harried here by the Supreme Sorceress. Stuck in the middle with you. Oh no. And is that's going to be another unit starting to diminish. Changebringers finally get out. An opportunity now to make some pew pew noises. Are you going to do it? Are you going to fire? You're just not going. Good job, Changebringers. Good job, lads. GG, GG. As we still have the Bringers of Beguilement. Going to move forward now and try and do something. As a blast from the past comes out. Bit of friendly fire though on your Lord. Now's your opportunity to turn around and start taking out these cold ones. But unfortunately, you're going to be disrupted once again. Look at that damage! Yeah, I didn't miss them either, Curio. Good God. Right, cold ones now are en route once more. We do have some more cold ones here. But unfortunately, they're just not able to keep... The Manticore just keeps getting out. Being free. Close match, though, all things considered. As we're seeing some ranged fire come through here. The Bringers of Beguilement are being sent away. Unfortunately, the Cainite Assassin not able to... Just doing shenanigans. Cold ones here are going to get a... Are they going to get a shot? They do get a shot! Look at the damage. Jesus. Absolutely disgusting. But unfortunately, they're running straight into Blackhawk Corsairs. No! Are they going to be able to rip some shots? They rip some shots. And Furies are... Oh, they're taken out, and that's pretty much all there is in play here for the sides of the demons. GG's, though. Shake the hand. Unfortunate bestie. It's not often I root against Spotify, but he did bring Changebringers. However, I shall remain impartial and say, thank God, good job. Good job, Hamster. I'm proud of you. How much value do they even get? 1,600 while still being harassed. One of the Furies did great. Most of them didn't do particularly great. They did fine. Nurglings did Nurgling things. Yeah, it's just the Changebringers that really did most of the gaming here. Good God. Ugh. Well, we can always take a look at the other semi-finals here with Curio. Conquest Wolfric. But did you say that there was a match that you wanted to see? Round 1 match. Okay. Curio versus Statist. Greenskins. Let's watch it. you're just enjoying the fact you get casted so much, Curio. I see how it is. I see you. I know what you are. You're almost as bad as Spartan. That one kid in school. Yeah, one kid in school. Like me. Always. Beautiful. Alright. From the side. Statist. We're going to see double Banshees again. Some Vergis. Black Knights with Bairding. The Angry Doggos. But they're purple, so they're cool. The Dire Pack. Corpse Cart. Yeah, of course. True. Karen Wraiths here in the corner hiding. They do be hiding. Manny von Goldstein up in the sky. Spirit Leech in the purple sun. And with the heck and some skeletons. What a spensy boy. Arcane Conduit. Yeah, the Wham Factory in full effect right now. Good God. More Karen Wraiths, skeletons. Dread columns of zombies ambling forward at a terrifying pace. And a pair of Banshees. One of them probably has the banner, right? Wait. No, they're completely naked. Marvellous. I was wrong. I hang my head in shame. Fake vampire count main. Outrageous. And then from the side of Curio. You're gonna see. You're gonna see it. You're gonna guess. What is it? What's in the box? It's a lot of Savage Orc Boar Boys. It's a lot of them. 2, 4, 6 in total. With Giant's Angry Spooter. With his goons, with an Orc Shaman. Who of course is going to have Gaze of Mork. And the Fist of Gork. Shaman just has Vindictive Glare. And don't even try it. Don't even try it. With an Arcane Conduit. Some Wham Factories. You love to see it. The Dire Pack is moving suspiciously forward. And then it's just a front line of Gobblings. The Cannon Fodder Extraordinaire. They're only outmatched by the Zombozos. With some Ruglans, Armoured Orcs, Orc Arrow Boys. I think that's more or less, yeah, I think we got everything. We got everything. Let's watch and wait and see the lines engage here very slowly. Nice encirclement going in here from the side of Stasis as we're seeing on this flank. More or less 3 or 4. They're ignoring one and they're just repositioning here so that they're mostly going to be dealing with the zombies in the front line. Giant enemy spider here has already launched some vindictive glares in the way of Manfred. As we see now the encirclement begin. The great surround. Oh, I forgot to mention the Dirkit Squigs. With their armor piercing and anti-infantry. As we're immediately now going to see the front lines start to engage. Ambling forward ever so slightly. Looking over here on the flanks it is. Ah, there's Blood Knights and there's Black Knights. As we're continuing to see that slow surround begin to go in. Yeah, nice armor piercing as well. It's just mass and armor piercing is so handy here. As we're starting to see some Night Goblins. Are they? Yeah, they have the Loons of the Eight Peaks. Repositioning here to deal with the more elite elements. As we are going to see the Vindictive Glare. How much damage is that going to do? A fuckload. Good God. 900 damage. Thereabouts. What is it? Can I do maths right? Just shy of... What is it? Yeah, about 700 damage there. As we're going to see the Zombozos. Karen Wraiths here move in against the Savage Orcs. We're seeing Manfred land here very aggressively. Trying to lure in a collapse here. But the Karen Wraiths are going to be hit with just a little bit. We see the dive. Banshee moves in here. As we're seeing the collapse begin. Overly enthusiastic going after Manny von Goldstein. Probably a Zombozo summon coming in just on top of him, I would imagine. But the trap has been sprung. It does seem as though there's going to be some nice value trading coming in here. As the Black Knights, Dire Pack, and of course the Blood Knights come in. Manny's taking a lot of damage, but he is going to be able to get out of there. Banshees here are going to start feasting some of these bits and pieces. That's going to be a Savage Orc Boar Boy taken out of the fray by the looks of things. We do see Manfred having to get out of there, but the morale here on the side of the Orkies is not looking great. Jesus, look at that damage. Good God. Absolutely deleted. Along with these guys coming in now to continue to harass a blobby McBlobbin face here of cavalry and movement pieces in force. As we see the Karen rates start to move out around. Manfred's back up into the skies once more, about to chase off some of these pesky mobility pieces. Karen rates still chasing stuff off. Skellington's managed to go for the surround and actually get in there. Quite nice. Only here we are going to see Night Goblins here facing off against the haggard line of Skellington spears. Hundreds of them are dying. Most of them multiple times. Seeing Manfred back up into the skies here with the Dire Pack in full pursuit. Does seem as though the Vargheist were taken out, but we still see the Banshee stuck in the middle with you. I'd imagine a breath attack is not too far in our future. There's 3 of them in play, and a beautiful blob of cav. No, the Varghese actually did manage to get some stuff over here. Breath attack here is going to be absolutely brutal, but he decides against it. Goes for the dive here against the Broken Tusk Mob, which is huge. Blood Knights here getting ready to charge in. Karen Wraiths resetting their charge bonus. Banshee's still hogging up as much space as is humanly possible. As a charge comes through, beautiful stuff, beautiful stuff. Durkat Squigs continuing to harass out these Karen Wraiths. Up goes Manfred back into the sky once more, but he is going to be caught. Over here, this flank is in complete collapse, but all the mobility and high value pieces are still in play here for the Vampire Counts. Bar 1 unit of Black Knights of Barding, and a beautiful cast is probably going to come down now any second. Nope, he's going to get looked at real funny. He's not happy as a breath attack comes down. Beautiful stuff here on the Savage Orc Boar Boys, as the Savage Orc Boar Boys over here in route. Do we still have the Dire Pack? They are, and they're probably going to come back here and start chasing off the Broken Tusk Mob. Some very high value targets here by some ridiculously low cost creatures. Banshees are still doing Banshee stuff. Single entities, and we see the dive here coming down on the Orc Shaman. And not really much to peel from. Savage Orcs repositioning themselves here to try and get the jump on him. But it's a target-rich environment here, folks. And with that terror out coming through here, Dire Pack comes back as finally they've greased their wheels, their motors are back in play. Will Manfred be able to get back up into the skies? He does! And I'm sure there's a beautiful cast coming down here, or a breath attack, or some sort of shenanigans. And Broken Tusk Mob is, well, broken, earning their namesake. Blood Knights are still in play. Beautiful cast comes down! Well, breath attack, same difference. Keeping the Vampire Counts very much in the count for winning this potentially. Beautiful comes down. Durkat Squigs are en route. The Orc Shaman is ready to go. Not having a good time. Continuing to do that beautiful amounts of damage. The Dire Pack has managed to shatter these guys out, but they need to be chasing stuff off. Dive comes down here from the Varghese. Zombozos. Just as a bit of peel. The Dire Pack come in now, ready to chase off some stuff. They have reconsidered life decisions here as they're going to go after the Orc Shaman. Are going to clatter him there. Probably going to rout him. How much value did these chaps get? 500, haven't paid for themselves yet. Banshee still in hot pursuit. Who's going to win? 1 giant enemy spider or 2 angry ghost women? The answer may surprise you. As we've seen the Varghese go for the dive here against the Ruglans, armoured orcs. Or they might dive, or they might T-pose. And a beautiful cast comes down. Spirit Leech. That's going to be them gone. Most of the stuff still en route here. As a dive now onto the Lord. It's in full swing. Reconsiders life decisions, though. He just like me, for real, for real. The Broken Tusk Mob does manage to get a charge here against the Dire Pack, but a counter charge comes through. They might win this, but they're not going to come out of it too pretty. As we see a dive now onto more of the Savage Orc Boar Boys. And the giant enemy spider stuck in the middle with you with some Blood Knights. Angry, unhappy, as another Spirit Leech comes down, and that's going to be army losses. What a beautiful panorama. The angry dragon up in the skies. Turning, wheeling angrily forward. Nicely done. That was very, very nice. Close match as well. 1800, 1200. Banshees did amazing. They did fabulous. Darpack did well. Some really nice stuff. Again, I'm probably stealing some element of this build for again. And I liked the really nice dive that Manfred did towards the beginning of it to lure just an unholy blob. Very anticlimactic into my right. Yes, just welcome to SFT's unfortunately status. But that was a really good game. Don't worry, I'm going to win that. You've been on a roll the last while, status. I don't think you have very much to prove. Very impressive, especially considering you've been rocking the counts. Very, very impressive tourney run the last while. Very, very good. I might actually recast that. There's been a few of them. Alright. Bro, skipping my values. I did look at your values, didn't I? I'm sorry, I see counts and I just get distracted. I'm, ooh, pretty. I think you should do a grudge match. I reckon you should do a grudge match over that. Goddamn, best of 3. Throw down, motherfuckers. The winner has to play Khorne into Wood Elves forever. Truly the most engaging of matchups. Alright, what do we want to watch now? Let's watch Hanadins versus Gep. That's what we're going to do. I was super stoked to see Hanadins join. I might have said it today. Fuck the rest of you. Because again, it's when I see a name that I've heard a bunch and I actually get to see them play, it's really, really cool. I don't think I watched this one, but we're watching it now, I guess. Alright, Gep. Rockin' the skinks, the skinkiest of front lines. Feral cold ones. They're gone feral with anticipation. If I recall correctly, 4K value or something. Okay, I may need to check that again. What the fuck? Alright. I'm sorry. I got distracted by Big Shiny. Leave me be. Alright, on the side of the Slime Mage Priest, we are going to see the Droidic Shield, Banishment, Regrowth, and Greater Arcane Conduit. Not taking Life Bloom because it's only one big spell. Side contingent of Horned ones, interestingly enough. Followed up by a couple of Cold One Feral, of the Feral variety. And the same here on this flank as well. We have some Chameleon Skinks here. Just a little bit of a skirmishing front line. A Feral Cold One, but purple. And yeah, there's Core to Sotek. And then Saurus backline. Pretty good stuff. On the side of Hanadins, we are going to see some Spearmen. A staunch line of spears. Backed up by some Outriders. The Altdorf Griffites. Empire Knights. More Outriders. Of course, more Empire Knights. And do we have anything else here? We do have an Elven Mage. Earthblood. Flesh to Stone. Power Stone. Pretty standard stuff. And then that blasted Luminarch. You can't keep getting away with this. Look at the fucking thing. Look at it. I'm so mad. I'm not coping, okay? I'm just angry. I'm molding, not coping. And then some Outrider with grenade launchers. And Frenzy Boy up top then with Reikland's Runefang and Stand Your Ground. Beautiful stuff as we see the shots ring out from this goddamn bloody thing. Gonna make some pew pew noises at the Slan, most likely. He's getting into position here. Some line of sight issues. Who's going to win? A Magical cannon or a hill? I think the answer is the hill. As we're going to see... What the actual fuck? Good lord. Good lord. Lizards do not like grenades. Oh my god, they really do not like grenades. Jesus, as we're seeing the Feral Cold Ones and some Empire Knights duke it out. Feral Cold Ones here jumping in on Franzi Boy. But there is going to be a massive counter charge here coming in, and that is going to wreck these poor lizards' worlds. Frontline here is having to withdraw just a little bit, as it's going to be the Feral Cold Ones pushed back, the Horned Ones here on the flanks. These Empire Knights are doing a grand old job, as we are going to see the Luminarch here take a little bit of damage here from a giant dinosaur. He was walking the dinosaurs. We are going to see these Feral Cold Ones going to full rout. These Horned Ones now not looking so hot. And Franz, of course, having Garl Miraz and, of course, the Reichland Runeflang here to boost the ever-loving bejesus out of everything he got. Altdorf Griffites coming in here now to start taking out these Cold Ones. However, on this flank here, we are going to see Feral Cold Ones jump them Spear Ones. Spear Riders. There's some Spear Ones. Some Spear Duders. Feral Cold Ones, Horned Ones, and, of course, the Chameleon Skink are coming in here. Of course, the Feral Cold Ones, pretty much everything in route. Nothing having a good time here in this engagement. Spearmen looking to get some shenanigans in here, as we do see what seems to be a regrowth coming in here on these Horned Ones. Giant dinosaurs bullying the ever-loving bejesus out of the Luminarch. Thank God. Look at him go. I'm rooting for you, giant dinosaur. You got this. Om nom nom and that blasted wizard. I'm very happy. This has made me so happy. Oh, but he's going to get shot to bits by Outriders. I'm going to look away now. He's still golden in my books. Good job. Royal Altdorfs are going to run in here. Get kind of caught up a little bit in these Chameleon Skinks, but we are going to see these Horned Ones get chased off. Beautiful regrowth comes in here, though. As the cohort of Sotek is going to get cycle charged for a little bit, as you do. Horned Ones here trying desperately to isolate and hopefully try and get rid of these Royal Altdorf Griffites, as we're seeing these poor Cold Ones having a bad day. Lead is in fact better than dinosaurs. That might be a true statement. Remains to be seen here, as we are going to see these Outriders start to resettle themselves. Chameleon Skinks, though, are going to have a grand old time making pew-pew noises at them as they've gotten just a little bit too close. Just a little bit. Some decent damage coming in. How have the Skinky Boys done? Yeah, they're doing great. They're having that blast. As unfortunately, these Outriders are going to be chased down by these Feral Cold Ones. Over here, it ain't looking so hot, Chief. True, the Chameleon Skinks are having a whale of a time, but unfortunately, they don't have much other stuff to do. I'm imagining a banishment might come down here at some point. The Horned Ones trying their damnedest. They're almost out healing the damage, but not quite. As we're seeing it descending here. Feral Cold Ones did take out these Empire Knights, but these Outriders are probably going to be routed off. He is walking the dinosaur, though, and the Outriders ain't looking too hot. These Horned Ones have come back with all four of their models, bravely holding the line. Franz, probably not too far off of a heal cap, as he's going to dive on the big toad. Skin cohort doing an okay job there. Unfortunately, these Feral Cold Ones are going to rout off. Cohort of Sotek doing their best here to try and take out these chaps. Chameleon Skinks, yeah, they're doing fine. Not as good as these. These chaps did the Lord's work. Good Lord. Good God in heaven above, sir. Feral Cold Ones now trying desperately to catch everything off guard. Skinks are still kiting these Empire Knights out. They're getting some shots in. It's all good. It's all good. As we're seeing a dive here on Franzi Boy. Franzi, my boy! Eat lizard real quick. Cohort of Sotek still trying to get doing some big circles here with the Royal Altdorf Griffites. The giant toad did manage to escape for now. Good job, giant toad. Proud of you, bestie. as we're seeing some skinks and stuff like that come back, but I think most of the front line has been completely obliviated. On the side of the Empire, still a lot of kite elements in play though, as we're seeing everything more or less start to descend here. Chameleon Skinks did rout, unfortunately, as we're seeing Terror ambling away here, just deciding to get shot for a bit. But some Feral Cold Ones do manage to get the jump on these Outriders. They might force them to rout, but unfortunately Franz is in hot pursuit. Slan's up top. And unfortunately these guys are going to rout now in just a second. Yeah, they're going to rout. They're probably not too far. 3 cold horned ones. There's 3 of them. How are they still in play? I cannot fathom. Droidic Shield comes down here to try and support Horror, who is doing a decent job here of trying to take out the Demigryphs. With them gone, that's a huge element of the Empire mobility gone. But unfortunately, so too is the mobility from the side of the Lizards. They've only a handful of very tattered, fast boys. Horned ones here, continuing to beat the snot out of the Altdorf Griffites, who are stuck in the middle with you. Franz is up top. Slan is here, ready to put down a Droidic Shield at any given moment. Does he have any banishments left? I'm not sure. He does not have a banishment, which is going to be pretty rough. However, these Chameleon Skinks continuing to rack up some serious value as Horror has been taken out. And with that, we're going to start to see the Empire just be able to kite out the rest of this to a fairly substantial margin. Altdorf Griffites are still getting shot to bits. Court of Sotek taking out the last of the infantry here. Saurus Warriors getting a nice little bit of a surround over here. But unfortunately he's down! That's not very healing magic of you there, sir. As he took out the Horror. Sauruses getting the surround. A heal comes down here on the Cohort of Sotek. Fortunately, Franz has taken a lot of damage here as he's stuck in the middle with you with a bunch of Saurus. That really funny video with the dog springs to mind here. He's coming for the Saur women and the Saur children. As he's going to go up into the skies, ready to dive on an angry frog. I do not mean the Bretonnian. As the Shield of the Old Ones comes down and a surround on Franzi Boy is in full play, Cohort of Sotek routing off these fellers. We still have some pew-pew noises in our future, as unfortunately these Chameleon Skinks are going to get shot to itty bitty bits. The last of the Knights are probably going to rout off here. There's still some Feral Cold Ones. The Empire is going to have to be very careful about their ammunition use here. But they also have to hit something. God, there's 9 of them left, and they're probably going to heal cap themselves. Jesus. Looking here, we're going to see the Skink Cohort amble forward at their leisure. Setting up. Terror routes coming through. The last of the shots ringing out here from the side of the Outriders, who are still remarkably healthy. Do we have enough gas in the tank for a single Feral Cold One to be able to take this one? Court of Sotek trying desperately to bait some kind of mistake here from the Empire. They just need to keep kiting this one out long enough for the Feral Cold Ones to get back into play. The Altdorf Griffites are probably going to be able to hold this one together. Disrupt the charge here with Franz. Griffites can move in, and it's probably going to be a terror out more so than anything else. No, they are going to terror out, and that's probably... It ain't looking too good, Chief. As you're a wizard, Harry has broken down here, taking out the Chameleon Skinks. Balance of power is very much in favour of the Empire, and I can definitely understand why they have so much ammunition still in play. And they have to keep relatively close to their front line here. Unless the Slan has a bit of a Droidica shield in his back pocket. Is that a shield in your pocket? He's waiting for the dive. Down comes the heal. And it's going to be on Franz. Foe Seeker. Everything is activated. Royal Outdoor Griffites might just rout off now in a second, but that's a Droidica shield used up. 9 of them left. Warriors are in flight. They're trying to get some shots off here on the slan. And I think at this point here, we just kind of fast forward this a little bit until something interesting happens. Something needs to run out of ammunition ASAP. As we're seeing the cohort of Sotek trying desperately to get some hits in on Franz. They still have a lot of ammunition. Losing ground. And Hanadans is going to be in a kite position and takes it out. Gee. Frickin' geez, boys. Really nice fights. I know it got super kitey there in the end, but, like, that is the name of the game. And can I just say, I'm very happy the Luminary did fuck all that game. Thank you. Thank you, Gep. Never change. Never change. That I don't think they can do anything with Franz around. It kind of makes sense, right? They're super vulnerable. They got caught up in some really nasty engagements with the Rampage as well. Like the Horned ones did okay, I guess. And they were just lured into some really nasty positions. I mean, he basically took out a Luminarch on his own. And harried a bunch of stuff. Like, there was a purpose to him. He fulfilled a very specific role for most of the game. Droidica Shieldman did fuck all. Chameleon Skinks are the MVPs in my heart here. They did some serious damage. Like, it's tough, right? Because you can't really do you can't commit too much to the kite. You need some kind of a counterpunch to deal with the knights. Like Franz did. Oh my fucking god. What the actual fuck? How? 1,000 value, yeah. Yeah, there's some value, folks. There's a considerable amount of value. Jesus. 2,100 to 3k to 3.5k. What in the actual fuck? GG's. I want to see this actually. Ooh, that's a build. That is quite the build. Oh. They call that in the business a fucking call out if ever there was one. Sorry, I'm watching this one. I need to see how this... Oh man. Did you just like see into the future? You see, if I fought this, I would have molded out of my mind. Let's do it. Alright. You brave motherfucker. What the actual fuck he did at the Mad Lad. Alright, anyway. We're having some Felbats for dinner. The Dire Pack here in the corner. My beloved in this matchup, the Vampurst der Kirstins. They're the worst hitchy blob to face. You fought some Jesus. You just seen into the future. Fully decked out Von Karstein Lord here. Tempest as well. Just as a bit of a cheekiness. That's That's a pretty... the Claw of Nagash, Terrorgeist in tow, and then a front line of zombies, skeletons. Another corpse card here to help out the front line. Felbat's Dire Pack. I'd usually take, with the Van Karstein, I usually take a Necromancer, but I can 100% understand why you didn't. Yeah, 100% though. Especially if you're paying for the Terrorgeist. Jesus. And then from the side of the elves, you have some Spearmans, the Phoenix Guard, more Spearmans, more Phoenix Guard, the Omen of Asurian with the Ember Storm, doing a nice little bit of a vortex, imbues magical attacks, Fiery Rebirth, Omen of Hope. What else do we got here? Do we got anything else? We have a mage. And Caradrian. Where's the mage gone to? Where's she hiding? Tempest, yeah, that checks out. Apotheosis. And the Book of Oath. Nice. Nice, Sue. Then, of course, the talents of these guys, the regular archers with flaming attacks, which are pretty brutal. Especially considering you're more than likely going to bring the Von Karstein, so they can't just get gazed of Nagashed to death immediately. I'm still on the fence about this matchup, whether I prefer taking Gaze or this. But this is pretty fine. Like, you kind of need the Tempest to be able to use your breath attacks and stuff like that, and these guys can get taken down pretty handy. As we're seeing the front line start to engage, of course we're getting some early jumps here on some bits and pieces. The Omen of Asurian is going to overextend just a little bit. Down he comes by Raiden, ready to set up that against some skeleton spears or something. Just taking a bit of a probing action here. As beyond, the Air Force comes in. The Dire Pack getting ready to jump some fools. And now all of these single entities are over here. And now is the opportunity to get the dive and all the things that matters. We're going to see that immediate dive down here. The Omen of Asurian does manage to get out of dodge just in time. Terragoose, the goosey gander. As we see a full dive here, jumping on these poor archers. Getting ready to come forward. We're just having a quick peek to see what everything is going to be doing over here. And Karstein's going to take a bit of damage. Beautiful. Flaming shot down along the flanks. Unfortunately, this mage, the high mage here, is looking like she's going to get in a battern, but so too is the Terrorgeist in return. But there's plenty of heals on the board, so the goosey gander will be jumping in at another time, no doubt. As we're seeing the SE blob come in, decide to engage. When Karstein's going to come down, what's he going to go for the... Yeah, in she comes. The stink breath doing its thing. That mage is actually getting pushed into the Zambozos, but the Terragoose is going to descend. Now that all the single entities have decided against committing to that, we are going to see the dive now on the talons of Tor whatever the fuck. Black Knight's coming in now to set up for charges here, just to keep everything on the flanks honest. We're going to see the Spearman taken out. Now that the archers are basically removed from the game, we're going to see the Claw of Nagash get ready to start getting the dive in. These poor spearmen are going to be caught up. Archers of Torquelade. We're going to see some nice flocks of doom coming down here any second now. As you see the dive now on the mage once more. The Zambozo's getting ready to fill the gap. She is en route. Archers are in a bad spot, all caught up. And now comes the pain and suffering that is the Claw of Nagash sending in the middle of halberds, albeit, but gonna do some rack up that value double quick. Good lord. The archers are en route. We're in a very good position here where a blob can just flat out win it. And the Terra now single entities are going to be in a bad spot now where they can get cut out. Are we going to see it? The Tempest comes down here on top of the Omen of Asurian. And now the brutality of a Vampire Count's blob begins. Black Knight's getting ready to charge off some stuff here on the flanks. Omen of Asurian does manage to get away. You're playing VC? No, I'm not playing right now. I'm casting games. Talon of Torquelada is still en route. Bunch of tools to be able to chase them off if they ever have the audacity to come back. Claw Nagash is just going to be setting up now for cycle charging. Dire Pack here on the flanks. Getting ready to jump. But a Flamestorm comes down. Not that it's going to matter all that much as we are going to see the Terra Goose get some really nice charges in here against the Mage, making sure she's gone for the heavens. As we see the Black Knights come in and make sure that these chaps never show their disgusting faces again. The Dire Pack is going to move in. We do see the dive coming in on Caladrian. The Terra Goose moving in to try and take out another target. All of the SEs are now pretty much isolated here. She's still 83 HP in a dream. Good on her, as now the SE Blob versus SE Blob with the Dire Pack in tow. And here we see the Skeleton Spears versus the regular High Elf Spearmen. Black Knights here on the flanks. Some Zombozos ready to do it. And of course, Rider of Rohan throws in the towel. I think that mind control was absolutely fantastic. So it is going to be... It was Stasis number 24 versus Rider of Rohan. Life Potato. That was who was playing in this match. We're just doing recasts of the games over the course of the tournament. Bats, we are the Bats. They did sweet fuck all, but they're the best, one of the funniest nets in the video game. Zombies did fuck all, but they did their job. Looking here, we are seeing the Skeletons. More Skeletons, corpse card. Jesus, that's value. Did he pay for himself, Stasis? With that spell kit and everything, he's pretty expensive. I'm imagining he did pretty damn well here. Here, even the Goose did okay. Didn't pay for himself. But no, he did not pay for himself. He was pretty close, though. What was he, 3,500? 3,500 value there, thereabouts? I'm trying to think of the fully kitted out Von Karstein. I almost never take him fully kitted out. The Elves kind of got slapped, which is unusual. This is a very, very bad matchup for the Vampire Counts. So, like... The Claw Nagash is a super ballsy pick because the High Elves have so many things that can just like shoot it to bits. It's very vulnerable. But as a distraction, Carnifex, and eventually getting in some really good value to try and like squishy down the Phoenix Guard and stuff like that and pull stuff out of position. It was a really good one. Like, High Elves have a couple of different ways they can play this. Did they not bring an Eagle? No, because it's pretty vulnerable because the Von Karstein Lord is very popular in this matchup. Very, very popular. So you have the basically the Tempest equivalent for the Vampire Counts to come in and do stuff. Tyrion, 1800. Yeah, I mean, like, crazy value here. The Mage got sniped out super, super early. Like, she had a Tempest in the tank. But unfortunately, the Terror Goose got the better of her early on, which is a really good dive. Very ballsy dive as well. These chaps did well, but they were mostly killing chaff. Yeah, really, really, really good win, Stasis. That's your mind reading powers know no bounds. My Blob's working away so I can deal with every type of army that I'm going to hammer. We're not beatable without mortars. Now more than ever. Yeah, that you bring up a compelling argument. I just ban High Elves because I don't want to have to deal with that shit. But I'm going to use the restroom real quick. I'll be back in just a second. Ugh. Alright. We'll do another couple of casts, folks, and then we will do like 2 more before my voice gives out. I thought the eagle was a default. It's usually dragons. Dragons are pretty nasty. Dragons are usually the thing that I see the most often anyway. We haven't seen much of hamster, but we've seen a fuckload of rider. But let's go Hanadans versus tank for this one. The Empire versus Norska. It's not a matchup I know very well, so I can't really say much about it. But oh my god, a lot of stuff. Yeah, not only that stays, but you're piloting them really fucking well. Like, there's very few engagements that you're taking that aren't really freaking good. So, like, GG's, dude. Broadcast forces you to speak a lot? Yeah, we'll do 2 more and then we'll let my voice, before my voice gives out. I haven't been casting for a long time, so... Anyway, from the side of the Empire... Spearman, spearman. Swordsman, swordsman, spearman. Free company militia with their pew-pew noises in the backfield. We have some outriders with nades. 2 outriders with nades, which is really, really cool. I don't see them all that often. Some regular-ass outriders with Knights of the Blazing Sun following up in tow to help deal with those skin wolves should they be brought. And then we have Elspeth von Draken on a horse. And look at her horse. Her horse is amazing. And what she got? She got Fata Biena, Spirit Leech, Pale Side for some spell mastery. And Death's Timekeeper, getting that ridiculous heals per second. Nice. V-nice. V-nice. Do we have to... It's just regular Knights of the Blazing Sun. There's no other stuff hidden in the flanks. And from the side of Norska, we'll see the Beast of Tashnar, Riders of the Mighty Serpent. Horseman. No, she's on a horse. Look at her on a horse. No dragons this day. Kurgans with great weapons, I reckon, on both. Yeah, they're both going for great weapons. And then we just have Marauder Horsemen, one of which is the ROR. And then the front line of Marauder Bearmen. They go grrr, hence their Bearmen. Some Spears, Berserkers, more Marauder Berserkers. And then a Great Shaman of Death with a Purple Sun of Xerius and Doom and Darkness, along with Favor of the Ruinous Powers and Giver of Glory, Warrior's Familiar, and the Power Stone. Oh, and the Offerings of the Gods, too. Why not? Yeah, and just a few doggos in the backfield here. As we are going to see Hanadans go for a little bit of a box. A bit of a mobile box. Repositioning here to try and face off against the front lines. We're going to see these Outriders start to move forward here, but the Knights of the Blazing Sun are going to answer in kind and take out these Orscan Ice Wolves, as we're seeing an awful lot of mobility move here on this flank here, where their other stuff is forced on one side. It is the downside to an incredibly mobile flank overload, is it does leave one side of the equation looking pretty grim, as we're going to see just these Outriders try and pop some shots here. They do manage to get a little bit of a charge in here. Beautiful. A dance of death and destruction coming out here on the flanks here, as these Outriders are going to be caught out of position by these regular Norse Ice Wolves. They'll do pretty okay here, as we're seeing these Knights of the Blazing Sun match off against them. Some Kurgan horsemen trying to knock on the front door and burst their way through, which they are going to do, going for the regular ass dudes as opposed to the spearmen. Some absolute chaos ensuing here in the backfield as these Kurgan horsemen are trying to take out the Free Company militia. Are we seeing some beautiful cast opportunities here somewhere, as the front line is now very much compromised? The backfield is also compromised. Beast of Tashnar here taking an awful lot of damage. The Marauder Horsemen here throwing in among these Knights of the Blazing Sun and other such foolish creatures to stand before Norska. As we are going to see Fata Biena going down on these Kurgan Horsemen. But a beautiful purple sun comes down doing some really, really nice damage against the Skirmish Cav and the Knights of the Blazing Sun and the Free Company Militia. 3 for 1. How much value did he get off of that cast? 1,300 from a single cast. Sweet baby Jesus. Going here, Free Company Militia here, just trying to keep everything honest. Here's another collapse, comes in on the flanks. These Free Company Militia are going to be sent off. Knights of the Blazing Sun trying desperately to peel for everything, but there's just too many things. Too many scary dooders. As we're seeing these Outriders in full retreat. Knights of the Blazing Sun trying to hold everything back here, as we do see this little box, this ever smollering. It's no longer bigly. As we're going to see more of the Empire's forces in full rout. Knights of the Blazing Sun getting a decent charge here. Elspeth holding the line as best she can. But unfortunately, these Marauder Horsemen doing a fantastic job of just throwing things. The fine art of throwing big, heavy things. Good job, lads. We're proud of you. As we are going to see now the Beasts of Tashnir move off into the backfield here. Regular-ass Outriders with grenade launchers trying their damnedest to just peel off for stuff. Throw some shots before they're cast into the jaws of the hungry gods. As we see the Riders of the Mighty Serpent. The Snake Cavalry, but they're actually on horses. Overly enthusiastic. As we see some Norscan Ice Wolves get shot to bits on the approach. Will they be able to get their rock and some shots? They managed to just about hold the line. The free men of the Empire doing their damnedest. As unfortunately these Free Company Militia are going to be sent back to Sigmar's good graces. And that's going to be another Purple Sun! Probably going to rout these chaps off as we see the return of a bunch of units. These chaps might be able to rock some shots, but they're going to have some pesky horses in the way. Great Shaman is doing a grand job. How much value? Nearly 2k value. All in all, good job. Good job. Good fella. Who needs horses when you have giant fucking elephants? The Totally Not an Oliphant doing a great job here. About to smash Elspeth in the face, as you do. Marauder Horsemen there doing their damnedest. We have some Free Company Militia back in play, but unfortunately we're seeing more routes. Elspeth's running for the hills. Running for her life. The fortress is fallen, run for your lives. And running into the sweet embrace of more guys who are going to run like fuck. Another Purple Sun could come down here any second, I believe. The Kurgan Horsemen and the Great Shaman doing a grand old job of sending everyone back to the underworld. We still have some Free Company Militia here. The balance of power is very much in the favour of Norska. As Elspeth is going to be chased off. Bunch of stuff in full flight. Beasts of Tashnir idling off in the corner, but I don't think it really matters much. Are we going to get a volley off? We do get a volley off, but it wasn't what they wanted. It's the Knights of the Blazing Sun in full rout. So much for your holy orders. Cowards. The cowards, the fools! We're seeing more stuff try and come back here. I'm no longer in a kite position now. His Hanadans. Or we've seen the Great Shaman jump on in. Having a whale of a time. Living his best life, besties. And I think we kind of just fast forward the rest of this here. It's just a bunch of routing units. And the towel is thrown in. GG's. Alright, how much value did this fucker get by the end? Good sweet mother of divine baby Jesus. No, thank you for coming. It was a pleasure to watch you play, Status. You're a formidable player. I'm stealing your build still. No credit will be given. Get wrecked, Nuba. But GG's, good to have you in. Berserkers did great. Jesus! That's some value. The Kurgan Cav, I've seen them being used a lot now, but they're not really doing much. I think it's just another option to throw in as opposed to skin wolves. So you duke out by going, ha, psych. And instead of going for Skin Wolves, you go for these guys. These guys did okay. Beasts of Tashnar did okay. General opinion. I understand their use case because the other person is going to over commit into the anti Skin Wolf shenanigans. But they seem to and for that purpose alone, I think they're worth it. Because Skin Wolves are spooky. And then as for the Empire, 1300 value. Good job, Elspeth. They really lack HP. 500, 500, 600. Knights of the Blazing Sun. I think one of them paid for themselves. I think. And then these go... Kaboom! Good job. Alright. We do want the semis. They just die to anything, same HP as the normal range Marauder Horseman. They'll probably, I'd imagine they'll get some kind of a buff at some point or another. Curio, maybe. Where's the other semi-round? Semis round. Demons. This tank. That one wasn't... it was okay. Alright, let's watch this. We get to see Tank again and we get to see Curio to finish us out for the day. Alright, folks. Oakley dokley. Oakley dokley. We are going to see from the side of Curio the front line of goblins, some of which are not actually goblins. Some of them are orcs with spears. And some of them are goblins with spears. It's a toss-up. AP Loonies, Orc Arab Boys, Ruglans, Armoured Orcs and more Arab Boys, Boarboy Biggins, Durkit Squigs, a favourite on the Broken Tusk mob as well. And we have the Great Goblin Shaman. Naked. In the nip. I think. No, he's not in the nip. I was lied to. The game lied to me. Arcane Conduit, Vindictive Glare, Sneaky Stabbing, Don't Even Try It, and Crown of Command. All good stuff. Delightful. Charming. And from the side of Tank... Marauder Spearman. Marauder Bearman. Marauders. Some more Bearman. Marauders. Bearman. A Shaman of Death with the Purple Son of Xerius. Marauder Spearman. Wulfric the Wanderer with the boat. Fight or Die. The Hunter's Champions. We're going to see some Marauder Chariots. Riders of the Mighty Serpent. Marauder Horsemen. Norscan Ice Wolves. Beasts of Tashnar. The Kurgans. 4 of them in total. And yeah, that's our builds, folks. Let's get this show on the road. As we're starting to see the front lines from across the field get together. Doggos of different colours. Of all shapes and sizes. As we're going to see now the chariots start to re-maneuver themselves about the place. When Nick de Vlair comes down here and some of the skirmish gav. Decent bit of damage in here. And you hear the chariots are going to run through. And they do absolutely fuck all except get caught by Orc Boar Boys. As you do. The hounds! Smithers, release the hounds! As they're about to crash through here and start to punish this slight overextension here from the side of Curio. Wulfric the Wanderer probably going to get ready for some boating. He said it was boating time. And then he boated all over the place. As we're seeing some body blocks coming through here. Shaman Sorcerer doing a decent job. And I've already heard Marauder Chariots holding the line. Which is to say, just doing nothing, waiting for some overextensions and stuff as a purple Son of Xerius is going to come down. The angry purple orb of doom and destruction and darkness and death and misery as an absolute blob of unholy blobs is about to go down. Holding poor Goblin Great Shaman in place for a little bit as we see some Kurgans retreat. Finally, we're seeing a repositioning here of the chariots to try and get some decent value here, crashing through that front line like you wouldn't believe. And they do some damage. Over here on the flanks here, we're going to see Blobby McBlobbenstein, Orc Boarboy Biggins, hammering it out here with some Kurgans. I believe there's another Vindictive Glare. Or something's going down in the future. Battle songs. What are they getting? What are they affecting them? Oh, they're just using an AoE. I understand now. The Orcs counter battery is doing its decent job. Another Vindictive Glare goes in against the Shaman of Death, Darkness and Destruction. We do see an awful lot of the Cavalry Corps vibing out here in the backfield. Maybe they needed an oil change. The Wulfric's going to reconsider here. Might see the Spooder doing whatever a Spooder can. Chasing off some Norscan Ice Wolves. We do see these Kurgans sent off. Great Weapons not doing a phenomenal job. Frontline doing a decent job of just holding. As these Marauder Spearmen are going to be sent to their dark deities. Nice charge comes through here on these Arrow Boys. Boarboy Biggins still duking it out here with some Marauder Bearmen and of course the Spears. Fortunately the chariot's going to be sent off, not doing a great job. As we see a counter charge here from the Kurgans into the Broken Tusk Mob. Getting a disruption on that charge. Beautiful stuff, but they're still going to take a metric shit ton of damage. Not great. As Wulfric is just not having a great time. And that's both of the SCs sent off. Frontline in shambles. And I believe now it's just a mop-up job. And so it is, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for coming. Congratulations to our top 4. In tied 3rd place, we have Statist and Tank. Hanadans coming in 2nd place. And Curio Wario meh, taking that 1st place spot. Delightful stuff as ever. To all the other players who didn't make it into that top 4, thank you all very much for coming. Making this thing possible. Couldn't have done it without you showing up. So I love you all. On this Valentine's Day. Caster to player, guys. I would give you flowers. I'd do it. I'd do it in an instant. Alright. So for Twitch people, we're going to find someplace cozy to send you all. And then we're going to find someplace to raid into. Is Maverick still going? If Maverick's still going, we'll raid into him. And if not, we'll send everyone over. We'll find someplace cozy to send people on Twitch. If I press the raid button, what's going on? Who am I following? I'll go to units. On Twitch, and then for YouTube, who is live? Maverick Sloth done. Maverick. No, he's finished, unfortunately. Thank you for the bunny back. I appreciate you, SK. Alright, there's no one I want to raid on Twitch. Although we can actually raid Montage, I think. Here, raid Unids. Goodbye, Twitch people. And then, can we raid Montage? Let me see if I can remember how to do this. Customization. It's... Oh, what a wanker. Alright, I can't raid him. Anyway, goodbye everyone.